Hello everybody. Hello Jyoti. Welcome to one more session, one more edition of our Grandma's March event 2024. We're so sorry everybody for the delay. We were having some technical issues, but finally everything is clear out. And we are here today for our Grandma's March. And the theme of this year is it is time to revive our roots and ask ourselves, what did we do once we knew? So, since it is time to revive our roots and honor our grandmothers, this project was born through the inspiration of my grandmothers, and I will talk a little bit about it. I invited Jyoti today, and she will just open the space for us with a prayer, just to hold the space and representing the grandmothers. So I pass it to you, Jyoti, before we start introductions, before we start with the agenda and all the fun things that we're going to have today. Many blessings and thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so humbled by this invitation to be able to sit with everybody today when we're opening up and empowering this moment with the Grandmother's March. And I love the question. I just want to say to you and to all those there that I know we had some technical difficulties getting started with you, but my elders say that when you meet such hard energies at the door, then everything after that flows with ease and grace. And so I'm going to pray that into being. So if you can all go and sit in your very silent, sacred space inside yourself for a moment, let us all meet there. Oh, Grandmother, Father God, I just want to give great, great thanks to you. I want to give great thanks for this day of life that started with the morning star, that called the sun to bring the light of day into this day so that we could all stand up inside of that light and open ourselves, inviting our full presence of being to reside within. I thank you for all of this creation and the diversity of this creation. The moon, the stars, the star nation, those that swim and those that fly, the creepy crawlies, the tall standing ones, the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, the air itself and how it moves us and brings a breath we all share. Might we remember that creation is built on and moves through unity and diversity. Thank you for this day of life as I sit here on the sacred territory of the Pomo and the Coastal Miwok people, and let me remember myself. And as I do, may I come back to the roots of this creation that are held and cared for by the original peoples all around this great and beautiful Mother Earth. And I give thanks for them, for they have carried a thread unbroken that brings those original protocols and principles, the mother law itself. They have brought it through times that of great diversity, challenge, adversity. So many forms have come at it to break that line, but they have carried it with courage and trueness of heart. And they are at our table today as we each one come from the roots of who we are to bring a thread that's been designed up through our family lines to sit here at this table today in this prophetic moment where the Mother Earth is moving into her ascension, into a higher vibration of who we all are, into the new dawn that the prophecies speak about far and wide. So I thank you that they come to the table now to bring this instruction from the mother about how to take the cords we each hold and to weave it into a tapestry for that new dawn. These are challenging times for sure. These are times that will help us see deep inside ourselves and to open to self-reflection and see the truth of who we are And when we do, we begin to water that seed of our own authenticity, and that which is not us, that has been put upon us, falls off and falls away. And we now stand fully lit in this moment of the new dawn, for we truly are the new dawn, awakening as I speak. I give you great thanks today, as this the day of the new moon, when the magic and mystery can stir us and inspire us and open us and clear us and clean us. For these are prophetic moments that those original people have carried, and many paths of spirituality have carried through the eons of time. These are the times that have been foretold for so long to prepare us as humanity to wake ourselves and open ourselves for this moment of choice we're all in. Let us take this moment to first come back to the root of who we are. And as we do, we can feel the ancestors' hand upon us that has been guiding us and moving us towards this moment, this very auspicious moment. And as we sit here, and this Mother Earth herself sends messages out to help us remember and wake, and let us know that we must wake now, for the time is now. Like never before. She can no longer carry the maladies that have been put upon her as we went into such a deep sleep and cut ourselves off from the nature of who we are. We're awakening to that now. We're restoring that. For when we do, when we come back to that right relation with nature, we will open to that divine nature that lives in every one of us, and we will light ourselves and become the stars of heaven that create heaven here on earth. For that, Creator, I give you great, great thanks. Let us wake to this moment and ponder that question. What did we do when we knew? Our grandchildren are counting on us to wake to that question so that we can listen deeply to the mother herself and see what we need to put in motion to serve her in this moment of her creation, this moment of ascension. I give thanks to all the grandmothers around this planet, for they have been holding something that teaches us how to care for life, for they truly are the elders with that wisdom on that line of life making. I give thanks for the grandfathers and the sons and the uncles that will stand around this grandmother and listen to her as we move into a space where only she can hear the whispers at such deep realms. I give thanks for the grandmother that began to dream this creation and is still dreaming it now. Let us all join together in the oneness of who we are. Let us celebrate this moment. Let us meet the challenge of it with courage and heart and commitment to life and the sacredness of all life. So now, as the grandmothers march and begin this march that will open us to the possibilities, to the teachings, the instructions that will help us wake to the question that has been presented in this prayer today, to the question that will help us understand we must wake. We must wake ourselves. We must wake ourselves. We must wake our families. We must wake our communities. We must stand up in this movement and unite all across this planet so the Mother Earth herself knows we are listening, for we are And I give great thanks. I give great thanks. For those energies that might come to challenge this energy and want to quiet it or move it or isolate it or cancel it, let us be so bright in ourselves, in our life, in this prayer that we are giving full animation to. Let us be so strong in that unity and oneness of purpose and intention and love that the love itself will transmute that which challenges it, and all will come into the light of who we are. And for this, Creator, I give you great, great, great thanks. Protect us, shine your light on us, inform us, instruct us, and guide us, for we are listening and we are marching for life itself. For this, I give great thanks. I give great thanks. I give great, great thanks. And so it is. So it shall be.
Thank you so much for that beautiful blessing and prayer. We really needed today to open and clear the space, to have the ancestors here. Oh, Jyoti, you're a blessing in my life. Thank you so much.
You're,
Oh, I needed that.
you're blessing mine and many others. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So yeah, let's start. Let's start playing and having fun. Finally, we are here. So I'm gonna start doing some introductions and sharing the agenda. And thank you, Jyoti, for that beautiful, beautiful prayer. We will have Jyoti soon again in the agenda, so she will share more about her amazing work and everything that she's doing. I just needed and ask her for a blessing and prayer to start this beautiful day and session. So I just want to say welcome. This is, as I said, the fourth edition of the Grandma's March event. And this is a project that was born 4 years ago through my Rosita and Pepa project, which is inspiring my two beautiful grandmothers, Colombian grandmothers, that are not in this plane anymore. They are the inspiration for this. And the purpose of this project and this event is really to create consciousness around this grandmother archetype for us to honor all our grandmothers, and it goes above and beyond that biological connection that we all have to our ancestors, but it's that energy, the divine feminine energy that we all need to connect these days. We really need to connect and bring all that it really represents and symbolizes, and is that connection to nature, is that caring, is the connection back to the community, to the traditions, and is to the, I say sometimes the always, but not the always that we don't want a world that is modern and with all the good things that technology is bringing, but it's the real essence of who we are as human beings. And that's what this represents. And this space is free, is for everybody, is for all races, all ages, all colors, all ideologies. Is a space because we all had a grandmother. We are all connected to that divine feminine wisdom and ancestral feminine wisdom. And it starts today and it goes until the 20th of March. And this year, we have amazing guest speakers that I'm gonna show in a bit, and a beautiful agenda for today. So I don't want to take any longer and go directly to the speakers that we have. I want to thank you all for being here. And for today, for the opening session, and you can access our website or our Facebook page for the next speakers until March 20th, that we will have people from all over the world, for all ages, races, and everything. Lots of amazing people. But today we have Quanita Roberson from the USA, Margery Bray from Scotland, Jelena Simic from Serbia, Dellinger from the USA, Alexander and Rama from home Home for Humanity. They are Germany from India and they live in France. Jyoti Ma from the USA, representing the grandmothers. Noela Egwu from Nigeria and Deborah Lavine from the USA. I will give more introductions as soon as they start in doing their interventions. And I will also want to share the agenda for today so everybody knows what's going to happen. So we just had that prayer, beautiful blessing from Jyoti Ma. I'm going to just give some introduction to what is Grandma's March and also share that this year we're also being part of the movement called What Did You Do Once You Knew? That my beautiful, amazing friend, Rebecca Saltman, she had this beautiful idea a couple of years ago, and she's going to share that together here with me. She's coming into this space in a while and in a little bit. And she will share a little bit how this was born, why this movement, and that's why it comes together with this beautiful poet that we invited today, which is Drew Dellinger, and soon you will hear more from him. So before I turn to Becca, I want to honor my two grandmothers. So I always loved sharing their pictures. This is Rosita, and this is Pepa. Rosita is my mother's mom, and Pepa is my dad's mom. And these are my inspiration. They are my love. They are the reason for me being here, for just keep doing this every single year that I think I'm not going to be able to make it. I am too busy, I have too much, but I don't know. They always do the magic. They always connect me to the people that needs to be here. And they are the reason that this work is just, connecting me out there and bringing so much love and so much wisdom to everybody. So I couldn't just not honor them. And Becca, please join me. We are in here together in this. I'm so happy. Finally, it's happening.
It is.
Oh, I know.
And every time I see the pictures of your grandmothers, I just want to cry. I mean, this has been such an incredible journey. And I'm so grateful that you keep doing it. You're amazing.
I know. So before you start, I just want to just say a little bit about my friend Becca. She's from the US, but now she lives in Portugal. So she is my beautiful friend that she's like a change maker, and she's been doing so many things. She is the co-founder of the Value for Flow, and she definitely is a visionary, a futurist. And she is one of the reasons my Shakti fellow friend sister that we did that program back in 2018. And together she started her project on women and purpose, and she's going to tell a little bit about that. And then I started my project with the grandmothers and all these events. So we are definitely connected for life. And please share all the amazing things that you're doing and everything that you are. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too.
Well, let me start by sort of telling a little bit about why and how we've brought us here today. And so on March 8th, 2020, it was International Women's Day 4 years ago, just days before the world changed in the pandemic. I mean, can you imagine? It's 4 years ago.
I know.
I launched a platform with its own event to weave the women of the world together. And it was amazing to realize that 4 years later, like literally nothing in my life is the same. And I imagine you too, Monica, like we might all feel similarly, like there is nothing that's the same from then. And then looking back, I've been reflecting on this commitment I made to launch Women on Purpose. And I remembered how important it was and is to me to be on purpose and to remember and, remember our connections to the land and to our ancestors and to each other, and especially you, Monica. 4 years later, like what's happening is we find ourselves in another leap year, right? And this time, we find that the world is in deep grief and mourning for what could have been and isn't going to be. And for me, including this idea that I had to weave the women of the world together and launch it in 2020. Right? And this put me into a deep inquiry. So what is it time for now? During the pandemic, I was facilitating a dialogue circle with elders and youngers. The war in Ukraine had just begun, and one of the participants asked the circle, I wonder what would happen if Putin's mother were standing behind him while he made these decisions. And literally, she asked, would anything change? And then we were all stopped in our tracks by this inquiry. And then nobody spoke for several minutes until one of the youngers pipes in and she said, forget about his mother standing behind him. What would he do if his granddaughter was sitting in front of him?
Imagine.
And so this inquiry has been stuck in my head for years now, for 2 years now. And so what I came to realize is that from this dialogue circle and many conversations, and some with you, Monica, since that I and perhaps we need to address our collective grief with new questions in innovative and engaged new ways, so we can give space for the things that will not be. Because from, at least from my humble point of view, only then, when we have the space, can we plant the seeds for our new and collective future. So in this idea, another idea emerged from all of this. What if each of us was able to take an individual pledge that's supported by 7 generations of our ancestors that came before us, and we pledge to our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and 7 generations to come? And if you don't have your own children, it's your nieces and nephews or your friends' children or otherwise. And what would this give us the ability, if we had good counsel from our elders and look at and address the grief, and then would this give us the foundation where we're able to know what we could do individually and collectively? And it started to resonate for me. And all of this made clear that we need to engage with people that actually have knowledge and insights, and more importantly, more important things to say about these times that we're living in. Because, I don't know, they've lived longer, they've been on the planet a little longer. And so with these things as my why, I believe we must immediately turn to our elders for support. And then the next piece was that all of this reminded me of my friend Drew Dellinger, he's here today, woohoo! And his incredible poem, The Hieroglyphic Stairway, where he asks, what did you do once you knew? And so with this in my heart and my mind, my flame got reignited. And I thought, what a better way to get guidance from our elders than to partner with my dearest sister, Ms. Monica Romeo, and the Grandma's March, which she also birthed in March of 2020. And perhaps we could collectively start to seek guidance that could act as our compass for our next steps. So, Monica, I say to you, as today, as we launch Grandma's March 2024, we can call on our elders to address the grief of the world and call out to their children and grandchildren and 7 generations to join them in a pledge to a future we most deeply desire and do not yet even know is possible. We'll listen to what they have to say about what they did once they knew, and that, having that call from the elders, we then can urge everyone to take their own pledge of what they did once they knew. And this is why I love you, my dear sister.
I love you more. And I take that pledge. That's why we're here. And we have amazing guests today that also they are going to show the amazing work that they are doing, and definitely doing because they knew they knew this world needed, and they are doing an impact. And yeah, that's why are we here today. So thank you, Becca. I love you. I'm so happy to have you here.
So happy to be
We're
here.
together in this. And yeah, let's keep moving, let's keep playing and inviting everyone into the space. And at the end, we will be back with you, just helping us all take that beautiful pledge to what is coming forward.
See you soon.
Okay. Love you. Thank you. So thank you, Olo. So following the agenda, I wanna call Margery Bray. Oh, my dearest, beautiful Marge, how are you doing?
I'm great.
Oh my
Great.
God.
Lovely to see you again.
I know. So Marge was part of my first Grandma's March event, and it was a success. And she chanted like an angel, and she's this beautiful, amazing woman that actually I met through Rebecca. So before I forward like to you, I give it back to you, Marge. I want to just do a brief introduction, and I guess there is like a background noise. Just check if there is something that you can do there. And Madge, we call it Madge Bray, and she was born Margery Allen into a Scottish Highland family of traditional singers, poets, musicians, and storytellers. And her mother sang to her in the womb and on the breast. Imagine how beautiful is that. And this rich song legacy has accompanied and sustained her at pivotal moments through her lifetime of working with human trauma internationally. She's a traditional singer with family roots in northeast of Scotland, like I just said. She's also a researcher, a trauma therapist. She went on to explore human harmony in sound and immersed herself in the Georgian songs and Kenyan rituals. And she's the founder of the Traditional Futures Channel. This is a space to preserve and share the Scottish oral tradition and cultural inheritance. And we will be sharing shortly here the link so you can all join. And today she will focus on songs, sound, and vibration as a container for grief. So, Madge, it's my pleasure to have you here. And please, like, honor us with that chanting, and then you can just, tell us a little bit of what does it mean, and a little bit about your work.
Okay, thank you, thank you. And what a pleasure and a joy to be here. I'm really delighted. So I'm just going to begin, I think, with something that is very ancient. This is from 1492 or around that time. And this is an ancient chant that is held in our Scots bagpipes. It's an ancient song stream. And I'm going to chant it now. And I'm going to chant it in a way with what's called vocables, which are the sounds that the early bagpipe geniuses really transmitted to their pupils. This is how the music was taught. It was taught through sounds. It was sung. And I'm going to chant it now in that way. This is the part Pibroch. I'm going to chant a part of it. It's about 15 minutes long in total if you are a piper piping this. But I'm going to chant just part of this. And in the sounds that I'm making, I'd like you to listen for some of the sounds of grieving. I'd like you to listen for shrieking. I'd like you to listen for a litany, a grief litany. And I'd like you to listen potentially for sobbing too. These are all, in my humble view, held in this. It's strong stuff, so brace yourselves.
Oh, Marge. I know, like, this is just more than a chanting or keening. This is a download that you always do, and it's such an inspiration and connection to your ancestral traditions. Please share with all of us.
Yeah, I would like to tell a story about this that helped me to reach the point where I could step aside and allow this to come through. So I was a young woman, and I was training to be a social worker in the very early days of my life. And I went across to the Outer Hebrides, and I was given a bunch of people, maybe 6 or 8 different cases, which were what people called them in those days. They were cases, and I had to go and deal with these cases. And I went to one of the cases, and she was an elderly lady. She must have been about 80. And I didn't have any Gaelic or very little Gaelic, and she didn't have any English, but she was a kind of a local kind of nuisance. She was seen as quite deranged. She would walk about, she's a little wee wiry woman, and she would walk about and she would steal milk bottle tops. And she'd take the tops off milk bottles, because there was milk bottles on doorsteps in those days, and she would steal the insides of cigarette packets, and she'd take them home and she'd stash them in her house. And so when you went into her house was, you had to wade through, it was up to your knees, this floor full of these things. And when I got into she welcomed me in, and I went in, and I had no idea. I was 21, I think, or 22 maybe. And there's just a living room with floorboards and maybe a couple of chairs and a fire with peats, a peat fire. And suddenly this old lady started to do this. And she was hammering the and this sound was going right through me, and I had no idea what she was doing. And I was terrified, to be honest. Anyway, I didn't know what was going on. So I got on my hands and knees and did the same. I just did exactly the same. I just mirrored her, just because my intuition told me to do it. But I never read anything about how you deal with these situations in the textbooks, because nobody taught you these things. And I was really scared. But for 8 or 10 weeks, I went to her house. I was ushered in, and the same thing happened. This wailing, but not just wailing, rhythmic and sound and song in the wailing. And I had no idea. And I would go home really scared, because I was doing the wrong thing, and maybe I wasn't supposed to be doing this. And if anybody found out that I was going to someone's house and hammering the ground and wailing and screeching, it really was, I was not going to get through my exams. So I wrote words like, I'm giving her unconditional positive regard, and prayed a lot at the time. And on the last day when I was in the office, I was leaving, I said to one of my colleagues who lived there, I said, I'd be really sorry to leave this lady, because every time at the end of this, she would come up to me and I would just give her a hug, and she'd be crying. And anyway, I said to this person, I'm be sorry to leave. And he said, oh, did you go and see her? I said, yeah. He said, oh, she was one of the Isle Air women. I said, what's an Isle Air woman? Because we didn't actually get much of our own history. We got British history, but nothing to do with Scottish history. So I didn't know much about our history, really. What the Isle Air was, this was a tiny Hebridean island with, I don't know how many population, but no more than a few thousand. And off that island were sent in the First World War a lot of young men, because they were seamen and they were mariners. And they went and they fought in the First World War. And about 400 or 500 of them came home. And one of the ships that was taking them home on a foul night on Hogmanay, which was the New Year, sank in the harbour. And hundreds of people were lost, men, and the women could hear their men screaming and drowning. And in the morning, the women went onto the shore to drag the bodies out. And this was one of the biggest maritime disasters of the First World War, because so many people were lost in the same ship. And the pathos of it was obvious, but the island never really recovered, because that grief, that enormous grief of a massive amount of the young men folk was lodged in the psyche of the people and in the land and in the landscape, that loss. And it had enormous consequences. One of which was that with a lot, because there was nobody marriageable, a lot of young women left the island within the next 10 years, one of which was Donald Trump's mother. But anyway, this was an incredibly important event. But in those days, nobody understood post-traumatic stress. So I didn't either. So I was holding these sounds in my mind and my body. I was a singer, but I never heard them before, because we don't have easily containers for that level of visceral grief. I heard it again in different situations, in war zones where I did bearing witness work, in trauma with children. I heard these sounds, but I could never find, words don't contain it, but sound contains it. So my life took me into the High Caucasus Mountains, where I was interested in human harmony and how that culture processes its harmonies, because in the High Caucasus Mountains, the Republic of Georgia is known as the locus of human harmony. And in that situation, they have incredibly complex harmonics. The music is it's an astonishing combination of understanding of the grist of human experience, which is all melded into the music. And in the process of that, I ended up at grief rituals in that country, and I heard the same sounds. I heard them very clearly. And grief rituals are not something that you pitch up to go to. They're something that you are invited to as an honoured guest and out of love, sharing something deep, deep, deep. And it's not the kind of thing that musicologists get themselves to, because it's because there's very few recordings of what really happens in the music of grief. But these are eternal threads and they hold grieving. And if we cannot process our intergenerational grief, our loss, our distress, then we can't progress as human beings, because that experience is lodged in our system and ends up with warmongering, if you like. So for me, it was incredibly important. I came back and I started to listen for those sounds. And I heard them. I had always heard them in the bagpipes, but I knew that there must be song lines that came through. And in our early life, in the 14, 15, 1600s, women were grief tenders in our culture. The clan chiefs would have had their women grief tending people, and they would have held a space for that kind of collective mourning. And they would have held a space for the uncried tears and for the transition of the soul. And so I began to beginning to form an understanding that these sounds that these women were making, these that were called Menahenturas, these women are making these sounds at funerals and grief rituals, that in the 1600s that was banned by the church. So the sacred duty of the woman was taken away, and the patriarchal influences changed things. But in the 1700s, these sounds were still in the land, in the landscape, and the men were still hearing them. And that was the time when our highest form of piping was at zenith, with the highest quality of our traditional music. And they were handed down by sounds. They were sung to their pupils. So there were piping schools back in the 1700s on these in the Highland regions, where music was handed down through a series of what's called vocables. So I went back into that whole treasure trove of exploration and understanding and started to develop. I met a very important person who was probably our master piper, who has the greatest understanding and knowledge of the early pibroch. And I spent time with him, and he said, I want to help you. And so what I'm doing now is beginning to look at early lamentation and how we can learn from that to bring this music as a container for grief in current times. So that's my work. And once I woke up, that's what I learned. That's what I tried to know. And that's what I'm feeling my way very carefully in. I find it, I'm not finding it always straightforward, because there are very strong ways of piping that you have to do in the way that this music has developed. There are big competitions where you get a kilt on and you get into competition with each other, and you get the best prize for the highest quality of whatever, judged by somebody external. But for me, music is not about competition. It's not about performance. It's about transmission. And so these are ancient transmissions. And when I found the capacity to stand back and allow them to come through, I'm able to use them in soul transitions wherever I get asked to be, really. And my YouTube channel is about transmitting I'm building it slowly, but my YouTube channel is about transmitting some of this music as a container for grief in our current times. Because if you think about our small little country, the iconic image is of a piper on the battlements with a kilt on, piping a pibroch lament. That's how people see Scotland. So we've got big punching to do in this. And as a woman, I want to try and reclaim it and rebalance it so that we as women can hold it for grief. And I've done quite a lot of this just myself with dying or people who were passing, holding that process. And it's an honor to do it, and it's an honor to share it. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share it with you. God bless. And that's where I'm at.
Oh, Marge, you're such a delight. I love it. And I still have not met you in person because I always was like, I want to hug you and be there with you. You know, you're so amazing. I love that smile and you're so much fun. It's like everybody needs to know that because, yeah, she's now doing this, all this transmission. And of course, this is a spiritual moment and blessed moment, but it's like Marge is just really something. So, oh, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
There you go.
My
I love
pleasure.
laughing with you. Oh, that's so amazing.
Okay,
Oh,
please
man.
help me put it out, Monica. I'm just beginning this process, so I want it to go everywhere
I
so that anybody can
know.
use it as a resource.
There you go. We're putting right now, again, your YouTube channel is YouTube channel, youtube.com at Traditional Futures. And there you can find all
Thank you.
amazing work that she's doing. Everybody needs to see it because it's worth it. It's beautiful and amazing. So thank you much again.
Thank you.
And I'm
Okay.
happy to give you the space for this. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining
darling. God
us.
bless.
You have a great evening for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Love you. Bye-bye. Oh, that was amazing. Thank you. Oh, Mach, is birthday sister? I'm seeing here. Oh my God, Mach, if it is birthday, happy birthday. We didn't know that. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Becca, my birthday sister. So following the agenda, we want to honor, and I hope we have some more time here because we are really a little bit back because I was having some technical difficulties at the beginning. So we are not in our time. So we're probably like 20 minutes behind. But I want to give the space to Jyoti before we go to the next guest, which are Alexander and Rama from Home for Humanity, because I know, Jyoti, you also have a very special message for all of us, and is a video that we want to share, and we're going to share that video right now, and I want you to give us a little bit of after the video of explaining what's happening with this video and the call. Yes, go ahead.
I will do. That's perfect. I just want to take this moment though, and let's do the weaving that Madge just brought in here, because Madge,
Do that.
I thank you. I think when I was with my teacher, Dhyan Yogi in India, he would say to me, and God was so ever present in him. He would say to me, Jyoti, 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 remember, sound creates and sound corrects. Don't forget that. And so I'm thinking of him today as Madge is bringing this wisdom forward, because restoration of those roots where our women, there were in many villages, in many different countries and spaces and places of the original people, our indigenous people, and they would have women that was what they did. They gave the sound to grief. And what a moment that we need to really, that's such good medicine for this moment of time that we're in, so that we can move that grief and then really open to where we are and the choice we're making, so that we will be up for the moment we've come to be. So I just want to say that as we go into this, because I think there is a grief through the mother herself.
There is.
That we're in a moment like this, and that it's going to be so challenging. It's from that kind of loving space that Madge's sound is now opening a door and holding something here significant for this mother as she sends out this this loud request of all of us to wake to the moment of choice.
Oh, how beautiful. Thank you for helping me weave in this. And definitely that is the idea, that Madge comes with her transmission and her keening to help us all grieve what we need to grieve, what we need to move to the next level. But first we need to grieve, and we need the ancestors and our traditions and the songs and the sound helping us with that. So thank you. Thank you, Jyoti. So before we go to the video and your message, and I'll give you the space also to tell us a little bit more about this message from Mother Earth. Of course, I want to introduce you. So everybody, a lot of people know who you are, but of course, those that maybe don't know yet, who is Jyoti Ma. So she's an international renowned spiritual teacher. She has cultivated projects that demonstrate ways of life that honor the earth and all peoples. As the grandmother vision keeper of the Center for Sacred Studies, she co-founded the Kajumari with spiritual communities, both in America and Europe, and other projects she has helped to convene are like the International Council of the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, which is beautiful, and the Unity Concert. She's the founder of The Fountain, and its mission is to restore an economic model that is based on reciprocity and collaboration guided by nature and the sacred. She serves as a delegate of the Mother Earth Delegation of United Indigenous Nations, and it's through this current work in collaboration with The Fountain that a global sacred territories initiative is evolving to protect Mother Earth's sacred sites and her original peoples. Jyoti has devoted her life to bringing unity to the planet, but facilitating the development of alliances between individuals who are the guardians of indigenous culture and traditional medicine ways. So through this work, collaborative relationships with organizations that are focused on economic, social, environmental solutions have developed, creatively addressing the global challenges of our time. So welcome, Jyoti, again. This is your space. Please, we're going to share the message now, and then you can come back to tell us a brief message of what this means, what is the work, and how we all need to stand also with Mother Earth together. Okay, so Turi, which is in the backstage helping me, please help us with the video.
I am the mother. I am in the heart of the universe. Throughout all of time, I have never suffered from such heat or exhaustion. I have endured for the last 1,000 years. Since that time, my natural connection points, my rivers, reservoirs, and internal waterways across all continents have been obstructed and are full of pollution. I cannot cleanse or recuperate. In December of 2023, I will start to rise and move and turn, sending this message out to all my children around the world. The storms, the earthquakes, the hurricanes, and the rise of the ocean will come. If the governments, the sultans, the princes, presidents, and kings of the world do not listen and act, in 2 years' time, only 30% of the earth will remain. I am the mother. I have always endured despite arrows being put in my eyes and in my body. I am not seeking to defend myself. I remain calm. But now, I must recuperate. There are 2 ways for me to heal. The first, I could take the law of nature into my own hands. This way I will go in search of my medicine so I can cure my body, heal my energies, and all that I'm suffering from. There will be great changes upon the earth. You will feel me recovering. you will feel me moving. I will not do this to cause harm to you. It will mean I am recuperating my body. Or the second way, all my children will make the healing happen for me, so I will not need to do it myself. I will put my older children in charge of my recovery. They will go and search for my medicines, for my cure, so I can be healed and recuperate with their help. You, my children, must all be united and deliver what is needed for your older brothers so they can do the healing where I have been injured by you, my younger ones. Each one of the rulers of the world, of the governments of the world, must say, yes, Mother, I will stand with you. I will give my help to where you have been injured. I, your mother, have given you everything. When these changes start to happen, we will see whether you listen and act, or whether I myself will have to do what I must to recover the balance on Earth. If in just 6 months from now, by June 2024, you say, yes, we will provide what is needed, then my oldest children will be able to help cure my body. If this message is ignored, I will take the law of nature into my own hands, 1.5 years from that date. This is the message that the Mother has given, she who is in the heart of the world.
Wow, this message is something, and Jyoti is like, for me, like tear comes to my eyes because it's unbelievable that it really comes from a nation that is from my original people from Colombia, and that is just so beautiful. So thank you, and I give you the space to
Thank
talk
you.
about it. Thank you so much.
I think it's wonderful that we can sit here together like that in this beautiful country. The Mama's called the heart of the world. And I want to just say too that I want to. We've spoken, Monica and I, and we had a lot more time where I could tell you more of the story of the Mamos, of these 4 original people in Colombia, and that I've had the great pleasure to be able to walk with, learn from, and still learning so much from these 4 original people that are seen as the older brother. And they're seen that way because they still live in that original way of life that the Mother gave us all, and that it got cut and severed, and we stepped away from Mother, and we stepped away from the understanding of that dialogue, and how significant having that dialogue with our Mother Earth every day brings us to an understanding that all life is sacred. So I'm not going to get into some of that story. I will say that the Mamos and many other of our traditional peoples globally They carry prophecy of these times, and they've carried it from the original days into now, some of them through their creation stories. And they've got the prophecies, and they've got an understanding of the instruction of these times, and they have a way of preparing us for that instruction and how to receive it. And so it's time to really turn around, as many have said now, and really speak to the grandmother that created this creation. She's waiting for us to hear her. She's doing everything she can to encourage us to wake. And when this message came out, if you could imagine the original people as a beehive, the beehive started, bzzz, it got really strong because so many of them came and passed on word to us that, yes, this is what we're all receiving. Yes, these time frames we're in are significant and we must pay attention. And yes, we have ways to help with this and to help her, Mother Earth. It's already ready to go. Can we source that? And the way that this film came about is I've been walking with the Mamos for over 13 years now with me and my community, and in service to this earth. We've been in service to the earth through the original people and how they helped us wake to ourselves and the mission we carried for almost 40 years. So, you know, that what they have said with the Mamos, when I first went down in 2013, the prophecy of the eagle condor, which was is held by many other traditional people around the planet. And it is about a time where they say the beginning will fall into the ending in 2026. Now, they told us this in 2013, and that we would go through this great cleansing, deep cleansing like never before, for the ending to fall into the beginning in 2026. And so if you look back through that, you can reflect upon the deep and deeper and yet deeper cleansing. And now we're here 2 years from that moment happening, and she's just given us this very strong message. And she prepared that message through a journey that we took. My staff and I, our community, have been helping to plan a trip to the Arctic, where we were working with many Baltic countries and native peoples from those Baltic countries and from the Arctic, and how to bring a bridge between the youth so that the old ways could be remembered by the youth of Europe, and how to bring that restoration back to our roots of life itself, And so we were preparing that, and everything was in motion. We had been invited to the Arctic Assembly. And then the Mamos received this instruction from Mother Earth that they needed to open 4 pillars, and the first one needed to be in the Arctic. So we were several months out from taking the journey. We were able to raise the funds that we needed for them to be able to open this pillar. They went into Greenland and across Greenland, and they took what they call the pagamentos, which are payments to the earth that bring balance. They met with the beings of those sacred territories to see how could we restore balance there, because these sacred territories, these sacred sites are like the acupuncture on Mother's body, and that has to be healed. It has to be opened. It has to be restored, regenerated. They then went into Iceland and carried on with this same pilgrimage in this way. They brought a message into the Arctic Assembly. And in that process, we met with a beautiful woman that is out of Dubai, who is the Minister of the Environment. And they were about to hold COP28 there in Dubai. And she invited them to bring a message. They then went to finalize this pilgrimage by completing this work there in Iceland at the volcano. And they told everyone at that time, she's going to be in great movement. You be mindful. What is she asking? What does she need? It may bring a great difference for how her lava flows. Then they went back home. 2 days after they left, earthquakes shook all over Iceland, and particularly there at the volcano. And then the volcano went off, and she's still flowing today. It was during all of this pilgrimage and work and the closing of that door to the work and the fully activation of that first pillar in the Arctic where this message came. And when they called and wanted to have me have a call with them and some of our people that had accompanied them in this pilgrimage, they said they've made a relationship with us and have asked us to be like a filter to the younger brothers, so they can bring these messages with what they call the seeds that will educate the awakening. And so this message comes as one of those seeds to educate the awakening. It comes from not just one person, or it comes from the mother herself, as brought by the mamos of Colombia. What it has stirred, because it's gone viral everywhere, and what it has stirred is people are waking, and people that have been prepared for this moment, they are realizing that this is the moment they've been all getting ready for. So all of us that are holding those initiatives, these movements, this work, we're doing it for ourselves, in our communities, in our villages, in our global work, that you just light up yourself, be as strong and bright as you can, because as we each do that, there will be a field of unification and harmony that will bring us to our oneness again. I'm sure of it. It also has brought us into conversations, so that at the equinox and at the solstice, the spring equinox and summer solstice, there are going to be big events that are going off, so that we can harmonize and shout out in this, through music, through sound, through prayer, through resonation of our heart's wish and love itself, to resonate and be the light that is necessary to bring the transformation, transmutation, and the ascension of this great Mother Earth. So this is a moment where we can really speak to, what did we do when we first learned about this moment? You can stand up right now. You can be who you are in your own authenticity. You can allow those old ways of being to come forth right now in this birthing moment, where the mother is moving and ascending herself and bringing us all into the new dawn. So it's a significant moment, and I know we're running a little behind, so I want to be mindful of your time and those that are following me. I hope people will hear the rest when you and I had a little more time and to tell more of this story, because maybe it will just validate the story each of you walk with. That is my prayer and my hope. And Monica, I thank you for inviting me here. I thank you for what you are doing with this and all the beautiful moments that you're going to be weaving, which are surely a moment of this new dawn giving voice. So I'm going to have to flow away, unfortunately, and I can't stay. But I'm going to I can't wait to see the recording and hear more about all these beautiful people that are coming forward right now in such a strong way as the grandmothers march.
Oh, Jyoti, again, thank you so much. This is such a blessing, you being here with me, opening the space with your prayer and blessing and helping me weave all this. Because since the moment that we talked this year, for you to be in this space, you told me this is such a synchronicity, because it's like everything that is going on with the message of the mother coming from the Kogi Nation, and me being from Colombia. Now the movement that we're being part of this year is What Did You Do Once You Knew? And now we're going to have also Alexander and Rama that are building the future home for humanity, calling also for regeneration to the future. It's just like, I don't know, this is unbelievable. How can we were able to manage to have all this together? It's just perfectly being weaved by the ancestors, by Mother Earth. I'm just a channel, a vessel, a bridge. That's all I'm doing. So I can just thank you enough. Thank you so much for this space, for sharing. And there is another video that we recorded, as Jyoti just said, just a separate one. We'll share the whole story. So just stay tuned. It will be in our YouTube, in Facebook, everywhere. So we will post it later today so you can watch it and see more about Jyoti. Jyoti, I love you. Thank you so much. Oh, so many blessings.
Yes, and your love is shining a light on everything. So blessings to you and all that, all the mystery that's going to happen. So, we just have to breathe and relax, right?
It is true. We just need to, we're playing here. Just relax and show up and magic will happen like it is happening already.
Magic is happening. Have a blessed, blessed day.
Oh, you too. Thank you. Much love. Oh, this is amazing. I just need to breathe. I'll take a little bit of water and I'm ready to call on my beautiful friends, Alexander and Rama from Home for Humanity. Oh, I can't believe I'm here with both of you. Actually, it's like 1 year ago, we were together in India celebrating International Women's Day. And look at you, we are here together again, virtually in this beautiful space. Oh, thank you for joining me. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. So before we start, I just need to introduce these two amazing, beautiful people, souls, and my friends. And I will give you the space for us to start chatting a little bit, for you to share your amazing stories, wisdom with us, and the amazing work that you're doing with Home for Humanity. So Alexander and Rama, as I just said, I met them through Nilimabad, and I was with them last year in Kashmir in India, celebrating International Women's Day. And Professor Alexander Schiffer, I will start with him because it's the first one that I have, not that Rama is not so important, is simultaneously a transformative educator, engaged activist, passionate, community builder, integral philosopher, and a spiritual poet and performer. I have seen that. He completed his doctorate on leadership personality from the University of St. Gallen, Switzerland. He's the co-founder of Transform M, I'm not sure if I said it right, Academy for Integral Transformation, is also in Geneva, Switzerland. He has diverse academic and literary publications, a passionate believer in the Catholic role of art and culture to heal and renew society. He also offers integral transformances, interactive poetry performances, and workshops to invite diverse participants to experience the integral and innovative possible. So this is a short one. Alexander is amazing and has lots of things, and you can read more in the Home for Humanity also website. And I want to introduce Dr. Rama Mani. She is an amazing, beautiful woman that I got to know in person and is in my life now. And she's a transformative performance artist, amazing as well. I have seen that. And an artisan of integral peace, justice, and education who is passionate about nurturing an inclusive and regenerative future for all life on Earth. Founded the Theater of Transformation Academy in Geneva and convened the enacted Global Transformation Initiative at the University of Oxford to transform the paradigm of power through the power of art and creativity. Dr. Mani also received her PhD in political science from the University of Cambridge, UK. So both of them, there is lots in the website that you can hear and you can read all the amazing stories and experiences and things they have been doing. And both of them are the co-founders of Home for Humanity in rural France near Geneva that serves as a living home campus, integral role model, and community hub for a growing global community of agents of transformation. Alexander and Rama, they aspire to catalyze people across all cultures to rediscover the unity embedded in our humanity, to actualize a civilization of inclusion, and to envision and enact an integral future for the indivisible family of life. They are the co-initiators of the new One Home University for Regenerative Future Building. You're going to tell us a lot more about that. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. So welcome, Japuras. Yes, there you go. Welcome. This is your space. And please share whatever you feel about your stories. I would love to hear any connections that you had to your ancestors or to your land, because this is the time to revive our roots and allow you to reconnect a little bit about everything that we have been going through this space, like calling us to reconnect to that. And then just share a little bit about your amazing work with Home for Humanity and what are you doing with that?
Just to begin, Monica, we just want to say indeed what magic that literally at this time last year, we were in Kashmir and you came specially because you felt the resonance between this dream that Nalima had. I know Nalima is also the connection between you and Rebecca. Beautiful.
Yes.
The last conversation we had a couple of weeks ago with Nalima, she said, you have to meet Rebecca, and we are meeting her for the first time in your but came because you could feel the resonance in the frequency between Rosita and Pepa and the initiative that Nilima dreamt of to create a home for humanity for the grandmothers, mothers, and daughters of Kashmir who have been torn apart by war, and for them to heal, reclaim the present, and create the future. And right there, when we heard the story of your grandmothers and about the grandmothers march you created 4 years ago, we felt what you've created, and we experienced it today. You have created a virtual home for humanity. And we are thrilled that in just 1 year we are together. We've experienced the magic and the power of what you have co-created in honor and memory and the legacy of your grandmothers, and how this is really creating a space for what needs to happen now. So we are both thrilled to be here and to share with you in the next few moments what this has inspired and incited and ignited for us, the theme of this year and the overall movement, the overall Grandmothers March, and to pay homage to Rosita and Pepa. Could they have known when you planted those tangerine seeds in the garden? This is what
I know.
is the garden that this would lead to. So thank you and congratulations, and how beautiful to be here with already with Rebecca, with Jyoti Ma, and with the Kogi brothers, and with Madge. It has been magic. So dear Madge, you created magic with everyone else you've been with.
Yeah, indeed. We feel, Monica, there is cosmic magic weaving. The collective weaving is taking place, and we are in the middle of this right now, being planted here on this tree trunk, where we feel indeed very comfortable, as you in your living room.
I love it.
We feel there is magic in the way how we come together, but also how this session already in this very first hour is unfolding, and how the Kogis from your country of origin, how Kashmir, the mothers, the daughters, the granddaughters, the grandmothers of Kashmir, and Jyoti Ma calling us into oneness. And if I'm not mistaken, I haven't looked it up, but Monica sounds also like you're holding the oneness, the monos in your very. So very happy to share here about home for humanity is also a calling to oneness in a way, as home is holding the Om, the creational sound that has been evoked today so powerfully, Om, as much as humanity holds the sacred destination of our species, which is unity, which if you take some letters out of humanity, we find ourselves marching, so to say, towards unity. And may I share one poem? Actually, I may say written.
Yay! I love that.
Because it came, and I felt speechless by what I've heard today. Also, hearing and listening to Marge and the cosmic sound that was speaking through her Gaelic traditions. I want to read my poem, which is just written. It's still hot. It's called Speechless. I have no words. I have no words for the beauty you are. Don't worry, soul responded. Words limit. My craft is infinity. Let's simply sit together in the beauty of being alive. In this space, speech drops off naturally. A single gaze, heart to heart, says it all forever. In that spirit.
Oh my God. It's speechless. Yes. Oh, yo.
Monica, we spent a long time pondering this beautiful theme that you have chosen for this year. We were inspired the first time we read and heard and recited Drew's poem, What Did You Do Once You Knew? And we were thrilled and very touched that you and Rebecca chose this theme, and Rebecca, the movement now that's building up. And we're looking forward so much to experiencing Drew live in some minutes. And so we really looked at each other and wanted to, how would we share what we did when we knew? And it was lovely because in the conversation we had, we recognized that we had received that question in two different ways. And that's one of the things we wanted to share in this circle, because we are so keen to see where does it land with people, how do different people hear the sound of those words. The first is, a little bit like in this beautiful video of the corgis, which way are we going to react? Is it going to be option one or option two, right? And the second part, Alexander, which you shared, which is, the first part being, now none of us can claim not to know that the world is deeply divided, that democracy as we know it is being stolen from us, under our feet and in front of us as we witness. And at the same time that our beloved home, Mother Earth, is being torn to shreds. And on the other hand, Alexander, the way you read it, you heard the words, where you said it's, what do we do? What did we do once
the original knowing entered our hearts and our souls, and we saw life perhaps for the first time as it really is. What then are we called to do when the eyes open to that reality?
And the answer to that is really in two parts, and it's quite synchronistic, because when you and Rebecca talked about March 2020, very interesting, because it was right then. It's beautiful. I can hear the I forgot the word for it, the rattle, the healing.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if that's Jyoti Ma or it's one of the healers in our space who is just gently blowing the rattle for us, the healer rattle. So it was exactly at that time, and it's interesting, that's also when we first virtually met Nelima. We came back home to this home, our Home for Humanity, the original campus of the Home for Humanity planetary movement from India, where we had been. And it was then that what we had worked on for so long, Home for Humanity and our partners, really began to become a movement. So just like for you and Rebecca, this period of COVID was a time of transmutation, where for once we could not physically travel as intensively as we've been traveling much of our lives to, in my case, countries in conflict, countries experiencing genocide. And it's tragic that today, yet again, we are witnessing on the very day that Ramadan begins, another genocide unfolding before our eyes. And we were, and Alexander traveling to countries in deep crisis, torn apart, and supporting their development. And we actually, from our homes, began to connect with all of these other homes, which have been places for belonging, homecoming, innovation, and transformation. We began to realize the philosophy that is at the core of Home for Humanity, which is when we come home to this inner home of our humanity and discover the message of Jyoti Ma, the unity which connects us across all of the glorious diversity of all the life forms on our planet. When we then begin to feel called to fulfill our purpose, our soul purpose, in service to the community and the culture within which we have in this incarnation chosen to be born, and at the same time fulfill our purpose in service to our one shared home, which is Mother Earth, then we can connect with each other and we can begin to accelerate the big question, the healing of ourselves, of each other, of all of the species, our brothers and sister species who are suffering so much and are being lost, and of our beloved Mother Earth, and live together as an indivisible family of life. So that was the first step that started happening. And then last year, we got the second step of the answer, because this division of the earth, the degeneration of our beloved planet is accelerating so fast. And that was the second step, which is what you just evoked.
Yeah. Yes, well, indeed. And Monica and everyone in this beautiful community who is weaving today here together, we really want to share that the work on Home for Humanity, while we have been working for 20, 30 years now, each one of us, through transformative education, through peace building, helping people to grow into their full potential, to make their fullest contribution to their own societies. For us, it was also an understanding, a deeper level of knowing when we saw the importance of homecoming, as Rama just evoked. Also the if you so want, the subversive power each one of us is holding if we do indeed come home and step into our full potential. If we do make the very place of our being and existence a place for transformation for our community, for our society. If we then do indeed co-create, as the mother spoke in the video that Jyoti Ma shared, and are in service of the grandmother's home, of the home of the Pachamama, of our shared home, then we do have a chance. And then option 2 is really can play out. And here comes now the other very, very powerful connection between Grandma's march and what has been evoked and revealed in us, which is the next big vision step for the Home for Humanity movement, a movement that we call for human flourishing and planetary regeneration, that we have been called on what is called the One Home Journey. The One Home Journey to each and every country on this planet Earth. 7 years for 7 generations, traveling country to country to really connect the big thread, humanity in unity once again. So in a way, it is a march together with the grandmother. It's a grandma's march, you may say.
Oh my God, that you're actually doing it. You're going everywhere, right? That's what you're doing. Wow.
Yes.
What a
Maybe
journey.
you want to share, Alexander, how that vision came to us, because it really
Yes.
was as if the grandmother whispered it to us. Go ahead.
Well, we have to probably say, and I think in this community that is fine. We got married on our land under our sacred oak 17 years ago.
With 6 spiritual guides from 6 different traditions, from 6 different parts of the earth. And it's very touching because the oldest one, the oldest grandmother, is a survivor of the Holocaust. And Alexander comes from Germany. She was born in Prague, and I have enacted her story. She was one of the first stories I enacted. She was 98 when we were married. And her voice, her blessing, carried the loudest. It was like the vibration, like the sound at the origin of creation. and it just vibrated everywhere. And we had a Maori elder, a Pauline Tangiora, who's one of very much connected with the 13 grandmothers. We had Hans Peter Duer, who is was a quantum physicist as well as a philosopher of life, of the paradigm of life. Bradman Veerakoon from Sri Lanka, a Buddhist who I just spoke to today. He's 94. Mona, who is a Sufi from Dakar and France. And Silla, of course, Silla Elworthy, the great, great peace builder. So we had this extraordinary group who were blessing our wedding.
Yeah, and I wanted to evoke this
sacred oak.
The sacred oak, where the wedding took place,
and
the medicine wheel, which is lying in front of this oak. And so last year in January, after tremendous developments of the Home for Humanity, the movement now on all 5 continents very present, we felt there is a calling for a new level of service that we are called to, and we returned to our sacred oak. We went to our oak actually at the end or the beginning of the year, where we usually do a 2-3 week silent retreat, and we asked the question. We asked the question in deep meditation for a full day, what is ours to do? Now that we are in the knowing to some degree what is ours to do. And we were sitting there and we had the most dramatic experience that we simultaneously experienced, because over hours, all of a sudden, the heavens opened and we got a download collectively, which literally put us on the Grand Mass March, on the One Home journey. We said all countries, each culture on earth, bring it together, connect the wisdom traditions, and learn from what we can learn from the grandmothers and grandfathers, the elders of learn from the great artists who can give us evocations of how do we imagine the future, learn from the great examples which are already in practice, and go on this journey and share. And that's, earlier you spoke about the One Home University. You hear the word in the centers. Mother Earth, it's not a university as we know it, but it's a collective learning, impact, innovation field that connects humanity as a whole in order to do the service that Mother Earth is calling us towards.
And to mention, Monica, because it was so resonant with, already what Rebecca shared in your opening, where she also had this vision, about the connection across all the peoples, and then what Jyoti Ma shared about all of her work with the indigenous communities who are really showing us the way, who are coming out of centuries of seclusion to say, if not now, then when, And in every country we go to, the first thing we will do is be in silence with Mother Nature and with the indigenous elders, the wisdom keepers, to hear their messages and we see ourselves as being like the thread that will get the beads of wisdom of our ancestors, of the wisdom keepers who have the wisdom of millennia. They've managed to continue to live in harmony as a family of life, with all life, despite all of, the dispossessions and colonization and all of that, as well as with the innovators in every society. We'll be working with the women who are coming out of profound violence and oppression and becoming the grandmothers for the future, and with the youth who want to be future ancestors, who want to be the future and mediums, So we believe that by putting together these threads of saying, listen, in the midst of all of this, Mother Earth is healing. She's calling, she's giving us her beads of wisdom, her pearls of wisdom, and she's saying to us, every one of you, my children, is and can be a co-author of the new story and a co-creator of this new future. And that's really what we see. We want to devote our lives now to being that thread that we can really experience ourselves as a family of five. So we call to everyone, to wherever you are, please be our pearls when we come to your country. Share with us the pearls of wisdom keepers, of innovators, of artists who we should meet in your countries, in your communities, so that we can create this new earth book with a page that is written by everyone on earth who wants to create a new home for all of us.
And potentially, your home
Yes.
might become a home for humanity. So we
Your home,
co-create
your organization.
homeowners, we co-create homeowners home to home, not nation to nation, not border to border. It's a border transcending borders, home to home, inner to inner home, as much as manifestation to manifestation. We are building as citizens the home anew. The invitation that the journey holds.
Oh, I love it. I want to go in that journey with you. It's like, it sounds amazing. I'm all in. I really want to go in that journey. And of course, my home here is open when you come to the US. So you know that. Colombia, my other home, is open.
Yes.
So we need to go there as well. That's a space that needs it a lot. And my third home is Brazil. So yes, who knows, there as well. So yes, I want to go to the journey, and let's open our homes to Alexander and Rama and to this amazing project and movement, because that's what we need. You are really helping us weave and regenerate what is coming, and what is needed to touch, what is needed to birth, what is needed to to show up in this world, the new world that we're building.
And Monica, I want to add one sentence, also inspired by the gift of your work today. Also mentioned Turi, your husband, working in the background and doing the beautiful
know, right?
All of this. So thank you. But we also want to share that the journey and also what we harvest in the journey is a gift to humanity. The participation is a gift. We are traveling with a gift economy of well-being, philosophy, allowing everyone to participate and not making it a constraint financially, while those who can participate in gifting. So also the economic dimension of the journey can be regenerative, but it is basically designed as Mother Earth does it. It's life is a gift, and this journey is a gift, and we are contributing together, thereby also to co-creating a way of human coexistence that is based on reciprocity and on gifting, and not just on transactional co-engagement. And
and that's so much the spirit of grandmothers, isn't it? Because I think it's from grandmothers that we truly learn this gift, of course, of their love, this unconditional love that we are fortunate enough to receive. Many of us who have had the good fortune to know our grandmothers or to hear about them from our parents. And that's what we truly felt, that somehow in this world that is becoming more and more materialistic, people are longing for that return, what the beautiful values that Mother's March celebrates, the simplicity, the generosity, the abundance, the joy of giving and receiving. And that's why wherever we travel, we will stay in simple homes, in the homes for humanity, those that already exist and those that will be birthed as we go along the journey. And it will be the spirit, welcoming gifts as we receive the gifts of hospitality from people. There is something special, Monica, we wanted to celebrate today. Is this the time? We know that you are sometimes.
No, this is the time. We also need to show a little video from Home for Humanity so everybody knows it. But we can do it at the end. Or you want to do it now?
Tell us how we're doing on time.
Maybe the video first.
That maybe people want to see the video so they would know, understand. Yes. And when you ask me, maybe that comes after. Or now or after?
Or whatever your intuition says.
Okay. When you said what are the memories and so on that come up as you prepare, tuning into the theme. Alexander is our poet divine. He wakes up every morning and his first hour is this kind of like divine communication and silence, and these extraordinary words come to him. I have to say I have not been as prolific in my writing, but I ran down to our meditation room and found my little poetry book, which was actually during COVID. And I opened it at random and I found 2 little poems which really felt right. So if that feels right, I would love to share them.
Yes,
it's in my very bad scribbling, so I hope I can make them out. But dedicated to the theme of grandmothers and home. What reminds you of home when you are far away? The purring of a cat, the aroma of spices, and stirring of kitchen pots, the crackling of logs in the fireplace, the laughter of children as they clap their hands in delight, the warmth and safety of an embrace that gives all without expectations, a simple dish on the table for all to share, a prayer of thanks by our beloved grandma with bowed head. These call us forward to build a new home where all are welcome, where all are one.
Oh my God, you make me feel like at grandma's house and at my grandma's house. And that's always what I have bringing into the space, is that feeling of like grandma's house is this magical place where time is just like endless. It's just not there, and everything is magic, and the foods and the smells. And oh, Rama, thank you. It's just like, oh. This is so beautiful. You should be a poet as well. Look at this. It's like,
Oh, no, it is.
I know. Look at her. You are a poetress. Amazing one. Oh my God.
Thank you. So maybe we go straight from that into the video of home.
Let's do it.
Yes, to hear your reactions. And
yeah, beautiful. Home for humanity. It is helping us. There you go.
See if you catch the music. We don't yet hear it.
Yeah, we cannot hear the sound. Dude, if you can check on that.
It's a very gentle sound by Pops Muhammad, the great iconic Afro jazz musician from South Africa, which was composed and gifted to Home for Humanity. Let's see. It's a very beautiful, gentle, healing sound. But if not, it's fine. Mm-hmm.
The music is not coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can make it happen. We have been having today, for some reason, some issues with sound. So yeah, but
If not, we have to ask Marge to sing to it.
Right, to clear it out, to sing right. There you go.
You know, I mean, since you mentioned Madge, I did have one memory that was stirred also by Madge's singing, but also by the whole theme. And I have here, it's very beautiful. It's the one picture I have with my grandmother and grandfather. My grandmother, they were very dear to me, and especially my grandmother. And Alexander found this picture and gave it to me as a gift the first year that we were together, because he knew how beloved they were to me. And what actually happened is a very personal story, but Alexander and I only met when we were 40. And as soon as we got married, I, like a little virginal Indian bride, got pregnant. But my age was such that it was not, the ideal for having a child. And I miscarried. And there was this deep, deep grief. I canceled all my work, and I knew I needed to go into silence and deep grief. And actually what came to me is almost like this child I've lost has come to take me back home. And I really felt I wasn't going to make it. I was going to go back home. And in the depth of that grief, my grandmother, I was just there praying and grieving, and my grandmother just appeared, in this feeling of unconditional love. And she just literally took birth inside me. She just took her place inside me. And I could feel that the grief of this child, which just transformed into this ocean of unconditional love. And what was quite interesting is right then I was supposed to travel to Afghanistan, which is a country which is very, very, very dear to me. And I felt that because of this miscarriage, if I couldn't have this operation to complete the process, I wouldn't be able to get on my plane. And I was calling many, many hospitals, and they all said, no, we can't take you, we don't have space, and we don't do that. And finally, I found one doctor we went to, and he examined me and he said, you don't need the operation, you're fine. Your child has been absorbed into your body, into your, and into your tissues, it's become a part of you. And I felt such gratitude because I felt it was really this transmission of generations, that my grandmother had come and held me in her grief, in my grief, and just filled me with love. And this child had become a part of me, that this love of my grandmother's could spread around the earth. And when Alexander and I married, that was our wedding vow, that we vowed that our marriage would be in service of all life and of the earth. And this was what we were devoting our lives together to. And it felt like this really prepared me for that. And since then, it's amazing. Our family has grown. We have adopted children in every part of the
All
world.
over the world.
We travel, we have more of, all ages, all backgrounds, all cultures. And this was the gift of my grandmother, which I grew up with, but of how it came and just, said, live, you are meant to live and to give this love. And as we travel around the earth, I know that it's not, you mentioned PhD and, the books that we've written, but it's really just this unconditional love of the grandmother, which can truly heal everything and reconnect all of us. So there we go, while waiting for the sound to come back.
Waiting for this. What a gift, Rama. Thank you so much. And that's definitely what you feel, or what I felt when I was with both of you in person. That unconditional love, and I felt like home. So, you're really doing it. Yes.
Monica, we should add to that. We only mirrored your beautiful love.
And now the sound is working. Thank you, Grandma. Oh, wow. Yeah, let's all join this movement. I'm completely in. And yeah, for the future generations, 7 years, 7 generations to come, to regenerate the future. Oh.
Well, great to know that you are totally in, because that's exactly what we want to celebrate and honor today. We want to honor the inspiration that led you. I believe it was as a Shakti fellow that you took on this challenge and birthed this movement, the Grandmother's March. And on this day, the 10th of March, the first day of Grandmother's March 2024, in the name of Home for Humanity, the movement for human flourishing and planetary regeneration, in the name of all of our homes worldwide and all our partners, we are honored to recognize
Grandma's March, Rosita and Pepa, for as a Home for Humanity for its outstanding contribution to revive the roots of humanity,
to activate ancestral and feminine wisdom,
and to build community in the spirit of reciprocity and healing,
for the benefit of humanity as a whole. We congratulate you, Monica, for this beautiful gift that you have passed on, received from past generations, passing on for this and future generations. Congratulations and gratitude to you and to all that will be birthed through this beautiful movement, the Grandmother's March.
And we want to,
Oh,
Monica and everyone, draw your attention just for a moment that this is signed also by our, if you so want, institutional grandmother, and for so many agents of transformation, grandmother Jean Houston from the United States, the great, great archetypal enabler of human beings to step into their full potential, as well as by Youssef Mahmoud from Africa, from Tunisia, who was a former Under-Secretary General of the UN and who feels that this work, the grandfather, so to say, of humanity, that this work is vital to move us into the future. Congratulations, Monica and the entire community of Grandma's March.
And we are
oh
so
my.
delighted that you are now officially a part of this movement.
I'm speechless, like your poem, Alexander, is just like tears with me. Is like, this is just unbelievable, because I have done this with such a love, and it was a call from my grandmothers, and I have just been following it and showing up every year, and this community is just organically, weaving together, and so many special, powerful, wise women and men that are here, that this is our Home for Humanity. This is not mine. This is from the grandmothers. This is from this community that has been showing up and telling their stories and sharing the wisdom and helping me. So I'm just, like I said before, I'm just here, a vessel. I'm just a bridge, and anything I can do through this journey for Home for Humanity to regenerate the future of all of us, I'm here. I'm with this movement. I can thank you enough. This is such an amazing gift and present that I receive on this day, especially. And thank you, Rosita and Pepa, my dearest, beautiful grandmothers, for this. And thank you, both of you. Oh, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Monica, I have, in that very spirit, on the very next page, I found this little, very tiny poem. It seems very fitting. A home is growing in every heart, ready to receive the other as one's own, willing to hear the unspoken, to speak the unknown, to be the light in the gloom. Soon our garland of heart homes will encircle the earth and all within it, and a new era of oneness will embrace us all. We embrace you, Monica. We embrace
Oh,
all the grandmothers that you have united, all the grandmothers of the past, of the present, and of the future.
Gratitude to Rosita, gratitude to Pepa, and to you and to Turi, and to all on the screen. And we can't wait to move, to march together into the future.
Oh, thank you. I can't thank you enough. I embrace both of you and all your beautiful project, Home for Humanity. And as I said, together, this path moving forward, these 7 years, 7 countries, and whatever I can do. Thank you so, so, so much for your presence, for your love, and for this beautiful gift. I love you.
Love you.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Oh my God, this was like something. Oh wow, this is just getting better and better, and it's not over. So yeah, we're ahead of time, but thank you for all of you being patient. This has been amazing, like all this weaving, and now this amazing surprise, and we have more. So now I would love to invite my new friend, amazing poet, Drew Dellinger, to this space. Drew, how are you doing? This has been quite a what already morning, afternoon for me, but wow, I'm so happy that you're here being part of this. It's such a pleasure. Before we start, Drew, I guess you are muted, but before we start, I want to introduce Drew so everybody know him, because his amazing art and poetry was the inspiration of the theme of this year. And I got connected to Drew through Rebecca Saltman, which is my partner in this year's movement, and she's been my partner in crime for so many other things, and my sister from many other lives. So she introduced us and brought Drew into this space, and of course through the movement that we're having this year. So Drew is a PhD, is an internationally known speaker, poet, writer, and teacher whose keynotes and poetry performances, which address ecology, justice, cosmology, and connectedness, have inspired minds and hearts around the world. He is also a consultant, a filmmaker, and a founder of Planetize the Movement. His work has appeared in films, books, anthologies, magazines, from the New York Times to Magazine, to Yes, Huffington Post, and many others. He brought the hieroglyphic, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right with my not native language, English, Stairway, which is What Did You Do Once You Knew, and is the poem that inspired our theme of this year, and the movement of the same question, what did you do once you knew? And this poem has touched hearts and inspired souls around the planet. So it has been cited and quoted in venues, from prison workshops to climate change hearings before the US Congress, and has been called an iconic work of art for the ecology and social justice movements. And now is part of Grandma's March and Rosita and Peppa project as well. So welcome, Drew, with all your amazing work that you're doing. Like many people have put out there, you're a deep and courageous poet by Alice Walker, and you're one of the most creative, courageous, and prophetic voices of this generation, of his generation, by Cornell. So welcome, Drew. And please delight us with your poem, because that's what we need, we needed to read it with your own voice. We have not been able to do that without you, so you need to do it. And to tell us a little bit of what was the inspiration around that poem. And of course, after that, what we want is that you help us lead a little bit of a panel discussion with the other guest speakers, amazing, that we have here today. So the space is yours. Thank you, my friend. Oh, we cannot hear you. Turi, can you hear him? Let's try again, Drew. No. Yeah, I don't know. Something's going on with sound today. But we will figure it out. No, I'm not sure. You want to go to the settings, maybe?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Good. Okay, you're here.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Monica. It's such an honor to be here and just to soak in the wisdom and the joy and the grief and the depth of engagement, and to participate in this this event and in the Grandma's March. It's a deep honor. So let me go ahead and read this poem, and then I'll say a few words, and we'll keep it moving. But
let's do it. Your space
this poem is
yours.
called Hieroglyphic Stairway. So, it's 3:23 in the morning, and I'm awake because my great grandchildren won't let me sleep. My great grandchildren ask me in dreams, what did you do while the planet was plundered? What did you do when the earth was unraveling? Surely you did something when the seasons started failing, as the mammals, reptiles, birds were all dying. Did you fill the streets with protest when democracy was stolen? What did you do once you knew? I'm riding home on the Colma train. I've got the voice of the Milky Way in my dreams. I have teams of scientists feeding me data daily and pleading I immediately turn it into poetry. I have teams of scientists feeding me data daily and pleading I immediately turn it into poetry. I want just this consciousness reached by people in range of secret frequencies contained in my speech. I am the desirous earth, equidistant to the underworld and the flesh of the stars. I am everything already lost. The moment the universe turns transparent and all the light shoots through the cosmos, I use words to instigate silence. I'm a hieroglyphic stairway in a buried Mayan city, suddenly exposed by a hurricane. I'm a hieroglyphic stairway in a buried Mayan city, suddenly exposed by a hurricane. A satellite circling Earth, finding dinosaur bones in the Gobi Desert. I am telescopes that see back in time. I'm the precession of the equinoxes, the magnetism of the spiraling sea. I'm riding home on the Colma train with the voice of the Milky Way in my dreams. I am myths where violets blossom from blood like dying and rising gods. On the boundary of time, soul encountering soul and tongues of fire. It's 3:23 in the morning, and I can't sleep because my great grandchildren ask me in dreams, what did you do while the earth was unraveling? I want just this consciousness reached by people in range of secret frequencies contained in my speech.
Wow. And this poet, just coming from you, is just like such a blessing, Drew. Oh my God, it's been so many tears today and so much joy and so much love. Please just tell us a little bit what inspired you, how this happened, whatever you feel like sharing. This is your space. Thank you for
Thank you.
blessing us.
Thank you. Well, the poem was inspired, it has several different streams of inspiration, but in particular, I think of my primary teacher, who was an ecological thinker named Thomas Berry, Berry. And Thomas Berry was somebody that I met when he was in his late 70s, early 80s, and I was in my early 20s. So this was around 1990, basically. And Thomas Berry had been a cultural historian and a historian of religions, and he had started writing ecologically oriented essays in the 70s. And in 1978, he wrote an essay called The New Story. And he said, in this essay, he said, it's all a question of story. He said, we're in trouble just now because we do not have a good story. The old story, the account of how the world came to be and how we fit into it, is no longer effective. Yet we have not learned the new story. And so Barry was kind of speaking within the context of Western civilization and Western thought. And he was saying that the old traditional story had run out of gas and the new story had not yet emerged. So we're in this precarious and confusing time of being in between stories. But he felt that the Western story of disconnection and separation and domination over the earth had run its course, had led to the destruction of the biosphere, and that we needed to get, and that Western culture, therefore modern industrial, corporate, rapacious, destructive, decimation of the biosphere, that's the culture that needed a new story. And that a lot of the wisdom for that new story was going to come from indigenous traditions. Thomas Berry had an immense respect for indigenous cultures and indigenous wisdom. And so Berry used to say that we need what he would call the fourfold wisdom. He would say we need the wisdom of the traditional religions at their best. And we need the wisdom of science. But in addition, we need the wisdom of indigenous traditions, and we need the wisdom of women. And that it's really this kind of fourfold wisdom that's going to help guide our way into the future. And so when I think of the archetype of grandmothers, and I think of the archetype of grandmother wisdom, I think of this sense of interconnectedness. And I think that grandmothers are so important because they're so crucial because they know what's important. Grandmothers know what's important. And what's important, of course, is our connection to the ancestors, our connection to the future generations to come, our connection to the planet, our connection to each other, and the responsibility and the reverence and the love and the joy that comes from that reality of our interconnectedness. And so I think almost all of the great wisdom teachers, all of the great traditions are sharing this message of interconnectedness. Just a few examples. Martin Luther King says, the universe is indeed a unity, a oneness. Gandhi says, underlying nonviolence is the unity of all life. Bell Hooks, spiritual life is first and foremost about commitment to a way of thinking and behaving that honors principles of interbeing and interconnectedness. And so it's the reality of the interconnected nature of the universe and the earth community that is our only viable path into the future. We need to honor that. There's a bumper sticker that I sometimes think of when I see these protests. And the bumper sticker says, respect existence or expect resistance. Respect existence or expect resistance. And so what we're seeing is, the way it's the immune system that resists disease in the body. We're seeing the immune system of Mother Earth rising up in our consciousness, rising up in our hearts, and rising up in movements. And so when I think of all of the amazing work that's being shared here today, I think of a movement of movements. I think of a network of networks. I think of an interconnected planetary movement. And this is what Martin Luther King was calling for. One of my kind of phrases that I cling to in my heart is planetize the movement. Planetize the movement. And this is something that Martin Luther King called for in 1967. He said, although it is obvious that our movements must internationalize because of the interlocking nature of all of the problems we face, we've hardly begun to build the skills and the strategy to planetize our movement for social justice. And so this is what King was calling for. at the end of his life. And this, I think, is what we've seen, in a remarkable degree in the decades since Dr. King passed. But we know that it's not enough. It's not enough to save the biosphere. It's not enough to build economic equality. It's not enough to address historic and systemic and institutionalized injustices. We need to strengthen the movements and to unify the movements. And so what I've been calling for, the way I phrase it, it's what everyone is talking about here and what so many people have been doing for decades, and for decades longer than I've been aware, is that we need to build a movement that connects ecology and social justice. We need to look at the power of worldview, the power of cosmology, and we need to build this movement using the powers of dream, the power of story, the power of art, and the power of action. And so Thomas Bray spoke often about the power of dream. That if you've never seen a video of Thomas Bray or anything, he's kind of like Yoda, and he used to speak in a very soft voice, and he would say, "So the universe is essentially a dream process. The Earth dreams itself into being." And so Thomas Bray had this very enchanted way of looking at the cosmos, that it was a deep dream process, that the oceans had dreamed themselves into existence, that the Earth had dreamed forth the atmosphere, that it had dreamed forth the first cells and the green plants that swept over the continents, and then the coming of the flowers and the coming of the reptiles and the fish and the mammals, and this entire unfolding tapestry of living blessedness. This is the kind of reality that we're enmeshed in, that we're enfolded in. I got totally off the topic of the inspirations for the poem, but my teacher, Thomas Bray, was certainly one. Joanna Macy, I'm sure many of you know the great teacher, Joanna Macy. She used to have these deep time exercises. And I remember participating in a workshop with Joanna Macy, and the task was to, get into pairs and then to kind of take turns in these dyads. And in the dyads, one person would be like an ancestor, something like 7 generations into the future, right? And or an ancestor to come, a descendant, right? And they would say, and then the other person would be somebody who was kind of like from the present time. And then the person from the future would ask the person from the present time, what was it like to live through the Great Turning? Like what was it like? What were you feeling? What did you do? How did you make it? How did you make it through, basically? And so it was kind of, months and months or a couple of years after that experience, but just kind of reflecting on the, this concept of deep time is so pertinent, that we have discovered. It's like the geology went transparent, and we were able to see into millions and millions and millions of years. I mean, this is one of the great discoveries of the human story, that we've uncovered that this Earth is millions and millions of years old, that it's 4.4 billion years old, and that we therefore have an immense responsibility to this entire Earth process that we are intimately connected to and emerge out of, and therefore should have a deep responsibility toward. And so I was just kind of, dealing with what this idea of what if we could have a conversation with generations in the future, and and kind of taking this kind of very common kind of cliched idea of your grandchildren coming to you and said, well, what did you do during the Vietnam War, or what did you do during the Civil Rights Movement, or what did you do now, and just kind of taking that idea and say, well, what if you stretched it out for several generations? Well, you can't have a conversation with, well, what if they came to you in a dream? Then you could have a conversation along several generations. And I was also very inspired by another one of my teachers named David Ulansey, who at this time that I was writing the poem of the early 2000s, David Ulansey had compiled a website called massextinction.net. And he had been doing this for years and years and years, since the early days of the World Wide Web. And so he had the most comprehensive collection of all of the articles about the mass extinction crisis. And so you could bring yourself to tears. You didn't even have to click on an article to bring yourself to tears. You could just scroll down the list. 30% of fish predicted to be gone in 30 years. Gorillas being eaten into extinction. I mean, baboons being eaten into extinction. It's like the reptiles, 25% predicted to be gone. I mean, it's just horrifying. It's horrifying to think of a planet Earth, a biosphere that has been lovingly coaxed into existence by the exquisite sacredness of the cosmos over a 14 billion year process. And for us to be so heedless, and for these structures of power to be so greedy that we would destroy this amazing biosphere. It is the most precious reality that we know of in the known universe. I mean, presumably there are other planets with all kinds of creatures and biospheres, but in terms of what we know for sure, this is the most amazing, precious, diverse reality in our known universe. And for us to be so heedless as to allow it to be destroyed by these greedy and unnecessarily destructive economic systems is a profound and poignant loss. And so it was really reflecting on the teachings of people like Joanna Macy and Thomas Berry and indigenous traditions and indigenous wisdom, and the mass extinction crisis that was being highlighted by Thomas Berry, but also by my friend, Professor David Delancey. So those were some of the inspirations that went into the writing of the poem. And parts of it, were kind of like a person, an individual, waking up in the night, an individual riding on the train, but also this kind of cosmic identity is cracking through. So I am the precession of the equinoxes. I am telescopes that see back in time. I'm an individual waking up in the night and riding on a train, but I also am this entire process, and I'm connected to the entire unfolding unity, the biophysical, spiritual, physical, energetic manifestation that is the unfolding universe. We are that, and all of us are part of that. And this is our birthright to step into the creativity that is the cosmological unfolding process itself. So I'll just wrap up by saying, just reiterating that call, that I think, and again, it's nothing new. It's nothing that we don't know, but we need to become much more effective, much more unified, much more creative, much more compassionate, to activate the full grandmother energies that are in our hearts, and the wisdom that's in our mind, and the strategy and the practicality that grandmother archetype brings. And we need to strengthen and unify our movements for ecology and social justice. And we need to utilize the power of worldview and cosmology. And I recommend or suggest that we build these movements using the power of dream, the power of story, the power of art, and the power of action. So again, it's the work that so many of us have been doing for decades. And I'm just honored to be part of this call and to hear about the ways in which, are the next speakers that we're about to bring up have been responding to this call from our ancestors, this call from future generations. And how do we respond with our full compassion, our creativity, our joy, our humor, our celebration, and our sense of reverence. So thanks so much to Monica and Rebecca, and thanks so much to everybody who's been a part of this so far. And I'm just thrilled and honored to be here with all of you. I can't hear you, Monica.
I was just saying, this is such a powerful poem, and all the inspiration that you bring from this. And when I met you, I thought this poem was like from last year, and it's like, it's such a, it doesn't have a time. It's so transcendental, it's like, yeah, when you wrote this, people can still read it 10 years, 20 years from now, and it will mean something, and it will create a movement, and it will wake us up. And that's what is so powerful, because it's really a call, and it doesn't have a time. It's just so, yeah. I don't even know how to say it in English. In Spanish, it's atemporal. It doesn't have a time. So thank you for your gift. Thank you for reading it. Thank you for explaining and inspiring us. And I don't want to take more time, because we need to keep on weaving, and we have some special guests that we invited today. And actually, we want Drew to facilitate this small panel, informal discussion with some powerful women. And what I'm loving here is we're having the masculine and feminine energies today with you, Drew. We had Alexander today. So it's not just us women talking about the feminine energy, but both of you bringing it into the space with your amazing feminine energy that you have as well, and so balanced. So I want to welcome our other guests, and we have Quanita Roberson, we have Noela Egwu from Nigeria, we have Deborah Lavine, we have Jelena Simic from Siberia, and we also have one more guest, which is Aurora Martin. Yes. She's our new guest that is going to surprise us also today. So I'm so happy to have you all here in this circle. Becca, join us together as well. You should be part of this circle. I think we can add one more. Yay. Oh, this is so beautiful. And Drew, like our amazing masculine energy, just leading us here together. I'm going to do a very small introduction of each of you, so everybody get to know you before we continue. Let me start with Quanita. So, oh my God, Quanita, she's my mentor. Like she is I love her. I just don't have, I'm speechless, like having her here, really. She is an author, she's a coach, she's an organizational shaman, entrepreneur, she's a keynote speaker, keynote listener. She's a weaver, as she call it. She really invites people into a beautiful dance of weaving, and I've been there. She's the founder of Enzuzu Consulting and Fire Water leadership program that I have been part of it. And she's works a lot through the Truth, Racial Healing Transformation programs and Heartland Initiative. So thank you, Juanita, for being here. And everybody that wants to know more about Juanita, please go to enzuzu.com and you will know about this amazing, beautiful woman, wise, that she's here. And thank you for attending the invitation.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I'm just like so happy to have you here. Jelena Simic from Serbia. She's my new friend through the G100 mission. So she is now the country chair for intercultural dialogue of this amazing group of women leaders around the world. So that's how I got connected through her, and also through Aurora, which I will introduce in a minute. And Jelena is an amazing art historian and the founder of Scientific and Research Association SumArt. Her career began in the Culture and Arts program of All the World Serbian Community, which is a Yugoslavian non-governmental organization. And she has been the president since 2021 of this association, SumArt. And the primary objective of this SumArt is to develop a new transnational creative ecosystem through Balkan cross-sector partnerships and cross-border collaboration through cultural diversity and innovation in that region. So thank you for joining us. I know you do amazing things, and people can also join SumArt and understand more of the mission that you are bringing and all the exchange of ideas. And you're working with amazing programs for female artists around the world, bringing the art and the women and all that feminine energy as well through your conferences all the world work that you're doing. So thank you, Jelena,
Thank
for
you.
being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm blessed to be in a group of such extraordinary women and male as well. Thank you, Drew, for much inspiring poets that made me think a lot of these days about what should I do as individual once I knew everything. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. We have Noela Egwu from Nigeria. I also met her recently through the G100 group of women, and she is the country chair for the intercultural dialogue for the country of Nigeria. She's known as the growth coach, and she works together with business coaching and trainer and assisting individuals or corporate organizations to achieve all astounded performances in their personal life and businesses. Noela has an amazing passion for walking up the giant in people and for unleashing the potential of young people. Through her annual Teens Hangout, Career Hotspot, and Tech for Her, she was greatly impacted the lives of thousands of girls and young women and men across the world. And she's been working a lot and speaking in global audiences or summits of gender-based violence and gender-based inequality in the United Nations. And she has a passion that birthed the Growth Conference, which is a global conference for women on leadership and peak performance. So welcome, Noela. Thank you for joining us here today. Let me keep introducing. We have Deborah Lavine today as well. Thanks, Deborah, for being here. Oh, such a pleasure. She's also another friend and sister from the G100 that I met. And she lives here in the US, in Tennessee, actually. And she's a Forbes magazine top diversity and inclusion trailblazer. She founded the online American Diversity Report 17 years ago and continues as editor-in-chief and podcast host. She's the author and award-winning of 18 books. She's amazing. She's like, can create things that if she sees that nobody has created, she goes and she creates it. And we have another session with her as well that has been recorded, and we will post it soon. She has documentaries about the stories of a World War II liberator with her father's wartime letters. She served as research coordinator for the College of Engineering and Computer Science, which is like first female IT director in the 80s. So she has been a beautiful, amazing, wise woman that right now she resides in Tennessee, in Chattanooga, and she was the Jewish Federation first and only woman executive director and founded the Women's Council on Diversity, and as well a grandmother. So welcome, Deborah, to this space. I'm just so glad to have you. And I want to also introduce to Aurora Martin. She is the president of the, I cannot say the global share of the G100 for intercultural dialogue. And Aurora has been with me, probably we've been sharing and being friends for 2 years, and sharing also through this intercultural dialogue her amazing work, everything that she does in the world. And I can say that she's a professor, vice president of International Institute of Human Security. She's been the honorary president, Womanity for All. She's a gender expert, promoting equal opportunities, combating gender-based violence and discrimination. And she's a senior advisor to the National Agency for Equal Opportunities between Women and Men. And she was also a senior advisor to the National Council for Combating Discrimination. She's an amazing, beautiful artist, and that's for sure. And she has the amazing project that is called Mobile Museum of Modern Slavery, which helps a lot of young women, especially in Europe and Eastern Europe, to get inspired and avoid this slavery that is going around. So thank you, Aurora, also for joining us in this space. And Rebecca, I introduced you already. So yeah, the space is yours. Drew, help us facilitate this circle around this year's theme. It's time to revive our roots, and the inspiration on the poem, ask ourselves, what did we do once we knew?
Fantastic. Well, wow, what a powerful powerful circle of women and folks. And Rebecca, Monica, just please jump in, to keep me on track and on time or whatever. But I think, as far as I understand it, we're going to hear from each person for a few minutes on this theme. I mean, each person here is someone who has deeply responded to the call of the earth, the call for justice, the call for the future, the call for reverence, the call for responsibility to our ancestors and our future generations. So we'll just go in the order of the list that I have here. So we're going to start with Quanita. But Quanita, please tell us a little bit about your journey and how you responded in your individual ways to these deep calls of our time.
Yeah, thank you, Drew. Oh my goodness. What a treat to be on this call. So two of the things that I'll just highlight that I think speak to this. One is that I'm a firm believer that we're such an adolescent adult culture. And the problem with that is if you don't have initiated adults, you can't have initiated elders. And if you don't have initiated elders, you can't initiate the youth. So it creates this vicious cycle of adolescent adults growing adolescent adults. And so trying to get out of that, there's two things that I have been leaning into lately. One is I do a 16-month leadership rites of passage cohort for adults, because the whole idea was, how do you grow up adults? It's through initiation. So during those 16 months, we have 3 in-person gatherings where we come together, and it's basically the heroine's journey, because I believe you get initiated through the feminine. I love that Robert Bly says men even have to have 2 births, one by a female mother and one by a male mother. And women, in initiation have to have 2 births, 2 by female mothers. And so this is how do we grow up people. The other thing is I have co-authored a book called The Underground Railroad, a 40-day journey to remembering soul and spirit. And it's designed to heal the ancestral legacy of slavery, specifically for all Americans. But I say, bondage is bondage, so it doesn't matter where you come from. I think that it just uses that lens to do our healing work. And I wanted to start because I wanted to read a poem that was written for the book by a woman named Timmy Singley. And it's called Cloak of Wounds, because I think this speaks to what I'm up to. I have been wearing this cloak of wounds, this veil of pain and suffering, passed down from mother to daughter, from sister to brother, from father to son, from grandparent to grandchild. It is this cloak of ancestral past sewn carelessly with wounding words and hints of hurts, stitched half-heartedly with loss and anguish, despair and rage, tirelessly trimmed with guilt and fear. Today I remove this cloak of wounds, offering this cloak to the water to be washed clean of its fragmented flesh and bloodied bands, offering this cloak to the wind to be blown free of lack and limitations and the ancient dust of illusions, offering this cloak to the fire to be smoked and burned as angered abuse rise to the sky and become the ashes of the past, offering this cloak to the earth to be buried with all the isolation and despair of my people. On this day, I take needle in hand and begin to stitch a new ancestral cloak, a royal robe of power and peace, of undying hope and deep faith. Today, I reach back in time to wind threads of hard-fought freedom with the hand-spun fibers of grace and love. Today, I weave together inspiration, innovation, and imagination with community and cooperation, intermingling wide bands of compassion with golden strands of forgiveness. It is this new ancestral cloak that I will wear from this day forward and pass to my grandchildren, to their grandchildren, and their grandchildren. Today, I will don the new cloak so that our hearts will be healed, so our minds may be cleared as we dance in the shelter of our faith, so my people will be restored, held only by the soul of spirit. And with that, one of the things that I loved when Jyoti was on a little bit earlier and spoke about the gathering and the coming together that's going to happen on the solstice, I wanted to kind of weave that into is that I've called a gathering of 13 wisdom keepers from around the globe to gather here in the US between June the 19th through the 23rd. And so we're starting to people to say, okay, I'm showing up in that process. And so it seems right in alignment with the flow of what wants to happen. And that's me.
Wow, fantastic. So inspiring. Thank you, Quanita. Thank you for your work and for those amazing words in that poem. Next, we've got Deborah. So Deborah, please share with us how you've responded to the questions and the challenges and the possibilities of our time. Thank you.
You are muted, Deborah. No worries. I think we muted everybody, so we did. Thank you.
I have always been a storyteller and a writer. I have a picture of myself in diapers with a number 2 pencil and a pad of paper. And I didn't know till many decades later that my mother, God rest her soul, had actually published a paper. She went to Radcliffe, Harvard, had published a paper on the influence of stories on children. And I guess she practiced all that on me. And that's why I've written all these books, including memoirs, The Liberator's Daughter, with my father's World War II letters. He was a U.S. military intelligence officer assigned to interrogate Nazi prisoners of war. I didn't know that until I took a job in Tulsa after the Oklahoma City bombing and was trained by the FBI to deal with neo-Nazis. And Daddy freaked out, came and told me his stories, and that he had hidden away his letters and my mother's love letters to him during the war in a file cabinet in the back of his closet. And that's when I felt the responsibility to share, to write about them, to give people a sense of history, to understand, right, that evil does exist and we must fight it. To create a world that we want our children, our grandchildren to survive in, we must be active in it. Now, my mom was sweet and lovely. Dad was military. And together they've made me do the same. And so I've persisted in organizing with the Jewish community, organizing the interfaith community, dealing with everything from people from the Vatican to people who are just folks doing dialogue because everybody counts. And in doing that, I created the DuPage Interfaith Resource Network. I created in Chicago. I created the Women's Council on Diversity in Chattanooga. And after I got terribly sick on a mission to Uzbekistan and couldn't travel, I created online because my mom had insisted I study computer programming back in the 1960s. Yeah, I did. And I put out the American Diversity Report with lovely help from wonderful angels, friends. And in this mode that I didn't know how much time I would have on this planet, I wanted to make sure that I give people a voice. That was my mission. And so there are hundreds of people who have published. I have indeed sometimes mentored to give themselves, right, a voice on this AmericanDiversityReport.com, and then to create a podcast to increase the voices. That is who I am. Give people a voice so that we can hear what they need, what they are saying, their expertise, their stories in particular, their stories. And in doing so, I got taught how to make a documentary. And that documentary with my dad's letters and my mom's love letters has been a winner in 15 different international movie festivals. And I teach it in universities because, right, if you don't know history, you're bound to repeat it. And I won't let that happen. And so I have done this. I have put myself out there, and I will continue to do so. And in my mom's favor, her sweetness, I created, using AI, video stories for children that teach ethics and kindness and appreciation of diversity, whether it's people with disabilities, different languages, different looks. This is what we need. We need to be able, right, to teach, to show through stories what kindness and humanity look like. That's my goal. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Deborah. It's so moving. So moving. I feel tired just hearing about all the things that you've done. It's so amazing and so touching. And calling us to our kindness and our humanity is so central to everything that we're talking about. So next we have Jelena. Thank you for your kind words earlier, Jelena, and really excited to hear you share your orientation to this question of what did you do once you knew. So please share with us.
Thank you all for this great opportunity to share my experience on my journey up today. As you know, I'm art historian, and I want to explain what art historians are. We are the protectors for the inhabitants of the past because those people are the guardian of our future, and we are here to as their voice, because learning history is very complex task, as everybody knows who study history in general and art history. um, my story began, if I want to speak about something else, you made me rethink about something that deeply moved me when I was very young, and it's the concept of the deep time. As you know, I'm from Serbia. I was born in the former Yugoslavia, and here on the Balkan, we experienced some difficult times during the 19th, and everything crashed in our lives. When we were, for myself and my generation, I'm 70, born in the 70s, everything crushed our beliefs, our country, and so on, etc. I was on my first or second year of my faculty, and we were in a state that we didn't understand our roots, because we were communist country, as many countries in mostly social country here in Yugoslavia, and we were disconnected from our root in general, as officials said in that time. And I start to read a lot and remember a lot of things that I do as a child. But one thing is most important in my journey is one archaeological discovery, and Monica will understand what I'm talking about. It is the culture of the Lepenski Vir. During the 70s or late 60s, former Yugoslavia and Romania start building the huge power plant across the Danube River, and they found one of the most intrigued cultures in the Europe. And we must say, as we know from the recent discoveries, that is one of the oldest civilizations, and not only this part of the Europe, but in the Europe as a whole. And the concept of deep time is very important in a way that triggers me to understand something else, and that is the very origin of the Europeans, and that we are, as a human race, are the same, and we have the same ancestors. Uh, and my research, I did some kind of research on that topic, but the most intriguing thing on this research was the symbols of the Lepensky weir. Uh, and it was very, very intriguing. That is somebody think that is the first graphemas or alphabet. Some call it as a primordial computer. And when we think about that, we understand that we have the common ancestor. And all other things that I did or I'm doing in my life became from this very simple phrase: we are the unity of the whole. We are the same. We have the common ancestor, even though we are divided by the language, by the customs, by the borders, or anything else. Mm, we here on Balkan understand how misunderstanding and greed can be powerful tool for some agendas, and how this agenda can influence in our lives. The generations of young people uh, were displaced, were are dealing still with trauma syndrome. And after the bombing of Belgrade in 1999, I started with several workshops with for young people as a kind of relief workshops, using art as a powerful tool for expressing our emotions and so on. It wasn't the main thing that I would like to talk about, but you inspire me to say something on this part, because I understand that it's very crucial for everybody to understand that even though we are not we as we here, but the people on the powerful places are driven by the greed. It is a minor percentage of the people, and we have the power, and we have the knowledge, and we have tools. One of the tools is art, in all forms of artistic movement and techniques to spread the message of unity. What is art? Art is an echo of primordial creation, and when we start doing any kind of art, we are creators of something completely different and spreading the messages to the people. Also, when I'm working with a young student and the female artist, we are trying to build something different than the other generations did here on the Balkan, and that is the unity and creativity, mostly with our former countries of now they are countries, and we were at the same place as Yugoslavia, and we did it. And we I must say something that maybe sound strange. we are um, we are thankful for the COVID, believe it or not, because we reconnect during the COVID. We organize something that we called Art Chakula, and it is art talk. And firstly, the female artists started to work within this artistic movement. Now we have guys who are very, very profound and as a professors and so on and so on. And now we reconnect our country, even though as we are separate countries here. And I think that we need, because I know from perspective that I used to work within the US and, NGO in Geneva, how powerful misunderstanding can be, and how powerful false agenda can be in order to spread the false messages, and how we here on the Balkan can we are here 20 20 30 years now. We are still dealing with false agendas and trying to spread the truth, because we did not want the war here, and the war happens, and we survived, and we connected still. We never has been disconnected, because we are mixed ration here. I have family in Bosnia, in Croatia, on Kosovo as well. We are connected. We are not disconnected, but as we know, the politics is completely different thing than the real life. Thank you for this opportunity. Once more, and one thing I would like to tell, I speak with Monica about these fabulous ladies from Anatolia, from the 12 millennia BC, who are made foundation for the modern Europe, and they start a hell of a journey by foot from the Anatolian plain within the Neolithic Revolution, and start moving toward Lepenski Vir. The Lepenski Vir is archaeological site between Serbia and Romania, and the offspring of the fellows of the Lepenski Vir, because there is a lack of the guys in Lepenski Vir, and the lack of the guys in Anatolia, and that is something called I forgot it in English, never mind. But those ladies and those intermixtures create the foundation of something that we understand as civilization of the Europe. And that is why we must understand that migrations and mixtures are deeply rooted within us. And we cannot speak of our own one of ancestors, because we are deeply connected in a very profound manner. Thank you. I apologize for my English, because my English is not my native language. Thank you.
No, not at all. Not at all. Very powerful words. Thank you so much, Jelena. I love being on a call where somebody invokes the Neolithic Revolution. This is fantastic. I love that. I'm fascinated by Neolithic sites and some of the stone circles and the standing stones of the British Isles and Ireland. Next, we're going to hear from, I also love this one phrase that you said, Jelena: art is an echo of primordial creation. Art is an echo of primordial creation. It's powerful stuff.
And it is. And it is.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. Next, we're going to hear from Noela. So excited to meet you, Noela. And please speak your voice into the circle, and then tell us about your work and your deep vocation, and how you've added your creativity to this community that's being called forth. Thanks so much.
Whoa. It's really breathtaking listening to everybody who has spoken today. Thank you so much, Monica, for inviting me to this space. This is my first experience of something of this kind. And I mentioned that to you. You know, it's really it's such a relief to not be discussing business all the time. You know, to be discussing something totally different from business and numbers and employee relationships and all of that. So I'm really thrilled to be here. I've learned quite a lot from Marge, from Rebecca and Alexander, from you, Drew.
Thank you for that poem. It's really lovely. So in my space, what am I doing? What have I done once I knew, right? So I come from Nigeria, and I wouldn't say that we have a peculiar problem in Nigeria, but we also have a peculiar problem in Nigeria. You know, the problem that a lot of people face in different countries. Now, in Nigeria, we have a high youth population. Sorry, there's power outage where I am, but the power will be restored shortly. So we have a high youth population. And in Nigeria, again, we face the onslaught of marginalization and discrimination, deprivation, and some biases that women face in most parts of the world. So the feminine gender in Nigeria, in most parts, is an endangered species, if you ask me. So in Nigeria, we have a high rate of child bride. So in Nigeria today, the statistics of child bride stands at about 23 million. These are girls who are married off below the age of 18. And you know, these girls really don't have a choice in the matter. They don't get to choose who they marry, they don't get to choose whether they marry them, and all of that. And then we also have about 16 million out of school girls. So you see that the system is weaponizing their lack of education to marry them off. So what have I done? I wouldn't say I, because I don't work in isolation.
Did we lose her? Can you hear her now, right? No. Yeah, probably the power outage just did something to her internet. Should we maybe move to to Aurora? I don't know, and then see if she can come back, and then we can do it. You know, I think it's a good Drew.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye out for Noela.
Yes, let's try.
And while we do, we are thrilled to welcome Aurora. Aurora, thank you so much for being with us in this circle, and please share with us your vocation and your calling, and how you've responded to the challenges and the questions of our time. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to see here 1, 2, 3, 4 people from our G100, and I have to confess that I wanted to talk about something, but Jelena's speech challenged me to talk a little bit about our past in Romania, because there is a big problem, a generational problem, impacting not only my generation, not only my parents' generation, but today's generation, because we lived communism, we had dictatorship for 40 years. Since 66, the dictator Ceausescu came in power, and he wanted to invent a new man, like Hitler, a new man, canceling, washing the brain of new generation, and putting inside the new history, like history was beginning with Ceausescu. So he was trying to cancel all the fundamental history of Romania. We had royalty, and the royalty brought a fundamental contribution to the modern Romania. and he tried to cancel everything about monarchy from the history. Even more, after the revolution, immediately after the revolution, the King Michael, who was still alive, living in Switzerland, he wanted to come back in Romania. And the new communists, those communists who wanted to show that they are new Democrats, they stopped him. They stopped him twice. One at the airport. Another time, the second time, he managed to arrive on the auto route, and they stopped him and sent him back in Switzerland. They were afraid. They were afraid that that part of the history that everybody, all Romanians wanted and appreciated secretly, could eliminate them from the power. So while Jelena was talking, I was feeling angry, and this heaviness of the past was putting me in a special state. So sorry for this intermezzo, but I felt that it's necessary to tell about this in the perspective of our relation with the past. Sometimes we want to feel the past, to be the normal continuation of the past, but look, dictatorship comes and decide that you are not who you are. So we don't have to repeat history, and especially in these days when nationalisms are in flower. We have to be very careful what we give to the new generation. So I see Noela came back. How do you want? I continue, or we allow Noela to finish and I continue with the new part of after?
Why don't you continue, Aurora, and then we'll go back to Noela.
Okay.
Continue,
sorry,
please.
Noela.
Great to see you back, Noela. We'll be back to you in just a second. Thanks.
Okay.
That's fine.
What I wanted to talk to you today, not about me too much, people already know me. I wanted to talk about a project I began with together with Monica. It's a project. It's a virtual museum for intergenerational dialogue. The project is called "Who Am I, Grandma?" And it is inspired by the first talk to Monica about this project we are developing today. We see that the younger generations are disconnected from their roots, from their ancestors. Actually, they are afraid to. They're afraid because they don't know how to build their personal story or on their roots. Why? Because of their connection with social media. Social media provide them immediate satisfaction, and for them becomes very important the virtual identity. That's why their drama could be related to likes or dislikes, to be accepted or rejected by certain groups. It happens sometimes to arrive to suicide because they are not accepted in social media, and this because they don't know who they are. Because see, the struggle that a young person faces in searching those missing pieces that complete the puzzle of their own identity. This struggle made them to fight with what don't define them. Actually, I was thinking that there is a competition between grandparents and social media. And why? Because in the past, grandparents, they were playing the role of today's social media, because they were bringing stories, they were bringing what we find on social media, recipes, stories, pictures, all of these. But they were building an identity of nephews. There are researchers that say that the new generation that is the worst at connecting with their grandparents. With all their to-dos, homework, job responsibilities, hanging with friends, it seems that calling grandparents falls at the bottom of the list of priorities. On the other hand, for elder people, depending on the level of mobility and different health factors, aging can be lonely and socially isolating. That's why the moments of connection become so important. That's why improving grandchild relationships for the generation that may have the most significant benefits for both parties. The more time spent with grandparents, the more memories they make with them, memories which can stay with them long after the loved people are gone. These memories could inspire, could give lesson, and could feel them the love that they can't find on internet. That type of love, sustainable and constructively love. Moreover, the new generation look like they lost the curiosity for grandparents. They are not interested what music they liked, what hobbies they had, how their youth was, what challenges they were facing. So, all of this create a big emptiness in their lives. Reviving the connection to personal roots, to personal ancestors and personal stories help to define identity, to search and to find those values that have a real importance for family, for relationships, and our project, Who Am I Grandma, want to be a virtual platform to create this intergenerational connection, to an engagement and relationship to celebrate our roots through the figures of grandmothers. I invite all of you to be part of this project and to bring the project in your countries and to help us to develop. Together with Monica, we are working for a platform. And when the platform will be ready, we invite all of you to be there and to help us to create this missing connection with our younger generations.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much, Aurora. Thank you for helping us reflect on and appreciate the importance of intergenerational wisdom. It's so powerful. Noela, I'm not seeing you on my screen right now, but Noela, I assume you're back. Thank you so much. And please, sorry that we lost connection. I believe you were saying that you don't work in isolation was one of the things I think you were about to say. Are we not? I'm not seeing Noela. Is she here?
Yeah, I guess we lost her again.
Okay. Okay. Well, Monica, you tell me. I didn't know if Rebecca was going to share, or if you were going to share, or if we've heard from all of the speakers other than Noela. Is that right?
Yeah, Becca, do you anything you wanna share into the space?
I'd be happy to. I mean, maybe I'll just sort of say my extraordinary gratitude, and I can't begin to express to all of you how grateful I am to hearing each of your call and teaching us about what you did once you knew, and calling out to each of us and future generations to consider what did you do once you knew. So this for me was extraordinary, and I am so very grateful. And then I don't know, Monica, do you want me to sort of talk about the pledge?
Yes, I think let's do that. Let's move on to the pledge with this group of amazing women and men. And if no, oh, there she is.
Oh, good.
Let's try and see if she can
She's
have
back.
some.
Woohoo!
You're back on
Just in time.
Noela.
Yay!
Yeah.
Fabulous. Please, Noela.
I know, right? Noela.
Hi, Noela. Can you hear us?
Oh my goodness.
Good. Okay.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience. But I missed out on Aurora's presentation. Okay, so I'll have to watch the replay. So can I continue now?
Yes, please. Yes, thank you so much. We're glad
Okay,
we're
so like I
thrilled you're back.
mentioned, we have 23 million child brides in Nigeria, 60 million out of school girls in Nigeria. So you can see that.
Let's see. We lost. Oh, there she is. Let's see if the internet works.
It's too bad.
Right.
Rolling power outages. That just is a bummer.
Yeah.
Oh, she's back.
She is?
Oh, maybe not.
No, I don't think so. She's frozen now.
Maybe we can get a recording of her later and add it.
Yeah, and actually, I will do that. So
Thanks.
yeah, I will have a space just for her. So that will be easier. So let's do that. I guess we lost her again. So we will have a space for her individually, so we can. Yeah, I will record it and have it in the space, so we can give her and her amazing work and her land a space in this platform. So Becca, help us with your amazing.
Before we move on, I just want to express.
Go ahead, Drew. You wanna close it?
Yeah, I just want to express my deep admiration, and I'm in awe. Really, it's deeper than admiration. It's really awe, amazement, but my deep appreciation for the vision and the heart and the compassion and the genius of this circle. And it's just been an honor to hold the space a little bit and to be participating in hearing about the incredible work that each of you are doing. So thank you so much for sharing with all of us.
Oh, thank you, Drew, for helping us holding the space and being the masculine here with this amazing feminine energy that you have. You deserve a heart from all of us for inspiring us with your poem and all that inspire you to write it, and all your amazing work that you're doing. Definitely. We shared before your website, so I invite everybody. He has amazing things in the website that we can get. The poem, you can buy it. There is these beautiful posters there is also the books and all the work that Drew is doing. So I invite everybody as well that can join and check what he has in there. Amazing, great things. And well, Becca's going to close us with the pledge from all of us. But before I move to Becca as well, I want to say thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Jelena. Thank you, Aurora. Thank you, Quanita. And thank you, Noela in Nigeria as well. Thank you, Alexander and Rama as well. Thank you, Marge. Thank you, Jyoti Ma, for helping us. We were just weaving all this. So Becca, to you, and then
and if everybody can stay on for another just couple of minutes,
I'd
love to see what you have to say. But today, as we're launching Grandma's March 2024, we called the elders to address the grief of the world and to call out to their children and their grandchildren and 7 generations to join them in what we now know as Drew's poem, "What Did You Do Once You Knew?" In this pledge to a future we most deeply desire and do not yet even know is possible. And so I am so grateful from this call, from all of you on this call, to urge everyone to start to think about what they would pledge to the future generations. And Drew posing the deep question, what did you do once you knew? And catalyzed with this power of dream and art and creativity and joy and celebration and all of the pieces that you've added. And especially Quanita, I love this idea of, because we're not adulting, we'll have a different opportunity to take this pledge, I think. And it's not only the inspiration, it's the title of what we hope could become the kind of social justice cosmology, regenerative movement, like Planetize, the movement that Drew, and I have been dreaming about. This will involve online and in-person events and ceremonies and discussions and dream sharing and wisdom circles. And the goal is to weave people together globally in a pledge, this pledge. And it's individual pledges, right? This movement isn't owned by any individual. Instead, it's a collaborative effort where people worldwide, and clearly not only women, can answer the question, what did I do once I knew? And it'll span from today and then continue encouraging people globally to start to think about what their pledge is that honors our ancestors and reaching 7 generations past to our children and grandchildren and 7 generations into the future, and focusing on actions that you can take once you've become aware of issues that move you. And since our first step started today and hearing the call from the elders, we're going to be working with other partners for other in-person and online and hybrid events and have people start to create their own pledges. We hope to have an event between now and then we'll have another event, we hope to have one in May. And then in July of 2024, we're going to partner with to address the world's grief and regeneration and reciprocity and reconciliation, as well as using the pledges in communities by partnering with Truth and Reconciliation Week, which was one of the founders is Nalima Bhatt, that we've talked a lot about today. And so I would just love, just briefly, if Monica, if you're okay with this, maybe just to hear one thing that they would, everybody would reach out to the generations to come for them to ask for a pledge, if that would be okay. Monica, are you okay with that?
Yes, I will love that. And actually, we have Noela back. I will love to give her like a space of some minutes. I know, Noela, we're going to also have a special individual session for you, but maybe you can just do a short intervention. I know you had your difficulties, but since you're back, just to show you, and then we go and do our pledge.
I apologize once again. So
No
in
worries.
2 minutes, I'll just share what we've been doing in 2 minutes. So what we have done to help our girls, to equip them for the present, for the future as well, and to help them become significant contributors in the society, regardless of all the biases and all the clamping downs on their rights and on their opportunities. Is that we've taken our campaign to secondary schools because we felt that trying to reorient the mindsets of young girls at that level will help them to also influence young girls their age. So we started a campaign in secondary schools where we advocate for education of young girls. We tell these girls how education is their key, the key to unlocking the future of possibilities for them. And just last year, we took it a step further to we hosted a tech awareness program for young girls in secondary schools in the rural communities because this is where this child bride and deprivation, they are prevalent more in the rural areas. So we partnered with the University of Nigeria and we had this one day event, tech awareness event for secondary school girls. And we had in attendance over 10 schools, participate at that event. It was amazing. And we had speakers from all over the world, US, UK, and everywhere. And the girls were really thrilled. Some of these girls have never seen a computer in their lives, So they were thrilled to know the volume of opportunities out there for them globally if they are able to embrace technology. And we also brought some women who are already thriving in tech to let them know that, this is possible. It's not theory. We're not taking theory here. These are people they could feel, they could touch, they could hear their stories. And through their own stories, these girls were able to begin to nurse or nurture the intention of embracing technology. Again, these biases we're talking about usually stem from the home. Now, if a woman grew up with a mindset that a woman's place is in the kitchen, which is, the mentality of most African women, especially those in the rural areas, that your place is the kitchen, you just grow up, you're prepped to get married, you have children, that's all, that's an achievement. Just getting married and having children is an achievement. So if we don't break the biases among these women, they just carry it on to their daughters. So now we had to take this message again to the women. And just this year, we had a global online conference for women tagged Reinvent and Relaunch Yourself. And we had people from over 16 countries in attendance at that event. We had about 12 speakers from 7 countries at the event. It was quite explosive. And we talked about a lot of things from inclusion to mindset change to self-leadership to, just generally reorienting your mindset so that when these women go with this kind of mindset to their homes, they can begin to also influence their daughters. Because if we influence their daughters positively and the mothers become the barriers that they have to overcome, then our work would have been, effort in futility. So as we are talking to the girls, we are talking to the moms, and we are also taking the messages to the fathers as well to release these girls to go to school, because they have the opinion that when these girls get married, then, they become like economic conveyor belts. They get married and then their husbands are going to help to sustain the family and all of that. And we're trying to reorient their mindsets that these girls are not commodities to be traded. These girls can actually bring in this money you're looking at. I mean, I, for one, I was a banker and here I am, a consultant. I'm a woman. And don't think that just because your girl has gone to school and she has an amazing career, she can't get married. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a career person. So one can actually have all in one. It all depends on your choice, So this is the message we are sending out there. So we're starting from the grassroots, from the rural communities, because this is where this is prevalent. And then we're touching the mothers, we're touching the fathers, and then we're taking our message global. So talking about planetizing the message, Drew. So this is us trying to planetize this message. And just this year, like I said, we had the growth conference. Now we are regionalizing the growth conference. So we had our first outing in January, and it was amazing. But we realized that we had people from different countries. Time zone was a problem. So we are regionalizing the growth conference. So we are looking at having the growth conference West Africa, India, UK, East Africa, coming up later this year. So that way we can take our message, to different parts of the planet. So in a nutshell, this is what my team and I have been up to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Noela. Fantastic. It's so powerful and such important work.
So incredibly beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noela. Yeah, I'm happy that we had your blessing and you had your intervention here,
you
and
so
definitely
much.
more to come in the other video. So thanks again, everybody, for all of this amazing interventions, for all the powerful things that you are doing, each in your community, in your countries, how connected you are to the ancestral wisdom, and how connected you are to leave really a legacy and to work for the 7 generations to come. So now it's time for our pledge. And Becca, back to you. Let's do it so we can close.
Well, I'd love to just open it up. Would anybody like to go first and just say what they'd like to pledge to the future generations from them? Jelena.
I will. Okay. My pledge would be that we must understand that unity or oneness of humanity has the most importance both for individual autonomy and authenticity as the highest form of the divine love and creative and collective responsibility. And that is my pledge.
That is extraordinary. Thank you so much.
I hope that I'm good in English.
Your English is perfect. Thanks. Would anybody else like to go next?
I can go.
Thanks,
my pledge is the pledge I've already made to my children anyway, that the work that I'll do is the healing work on the egocentric, the ethnocentric, and the world-centric layers, because we can't give what we don't have. And I believe that we're our most underutilized resource.
Amazing. Thank you. That is extraordinary. Who would like to go next? Deborah, are you trying to go next?
You're
on mute,
muted.
though.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Because I thought I was going to die 30 years ago, I always thought about what I would leave, the legacy, right? And it's putting it in writing that matters to me so that it can be handed down. The stories, the ideas, the emotions, to influence people. And that's the pledge that I continue to make. And although I've published 18 books, I promise, I'm going to write one more.
Amazing. Maybe you'll inspire me to write my next book.
Yes. In fact, I've done a workbook for people to write a book. I'll talk to you about it, because I totally believe that not only does writing, and Drew, I think you know this so well, not only does it influence future generations, but it transforms you in the process to do even more. So the next one is going to be how the arts bring us together and why I know that.
I love it. Extraordinary. Who would like to go next?
I'll go. My pledge is to listen. My pledge is to listen more deeply, and to use my work as a scholar and as a writer to lift up the voices that have been marginalized and ignored, and to use my voice and my scholarship and my creativity on behalf of the community, the entire community, the Earth community, and on behalf of the future.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful for your pledge. Noela or Aurora? Who would like to go next? Noela, please.
Okay, so my pledge is to be the bridge that would help other people to cross from where they are to where they want to be, especially those who are marginalized, especially those who are not heard, especially those who have also given up hope and are just existing instead of living. I pledge to not go leave this earth with anything that I could have given, but to leave this earth empty, just like I came, knowing that I've done everything that I needed to do, and that I'm taking nothing back with me. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Aurora, how about you?
My pledge is to continue to fight against discrimination, against inequity, to support marginalized people. With my mobile museum of modern day slavery, I went in rural area because many times this is a forgotten zone. And my pledge is to empower girls and women by trying to create awareness, to make them to be aware of their power.
Aurora, thank you. That's beautiful. My dearest Monica,
Oh,
you have a pledge?
Of course I do. My pledge is my pledge is for my nephews, first of all, Sebastian and Martin. And actually, I invited them to join us at the closing, but they won't be able to do it. But they are here with us. They know we're having this event. And last year they joined us. They are 11 and 8 years old. And I don't have kids, but my inspiration are these two boys. And I'm doing everything inspired and receiving the call of my grandmothers, first of all. But I'm doing it to leave a better world for them, for the other kids, for our new generations. So we get to connect and they get to know and understand our traditions, the old ways, the good things, the wisdom, and they don't forget that we are human beings, that we're connected to love and to the heart. And that's my pledge. I'm going to work until the last day, last breath of my life, bringing the voice of the grandmothers, bringing the love of this amazing ancestral feminine wisdom, connecting everybody to this and for these kids and for the 7 generations to come. Thank you all for being here.
And I'll just end this by saying I'm pledging to our connections to each other and the earth and to this movement so inspired by Drew. Thank you. And that I will promise each and every one of you to do what I can to start asking everybody I know what they did once they knew, so that we can connect and make this a better world. Monica, I love you and I thank you. And this has been incredible.
Oh, this has been like out of this world. Very unique, very amazing and loving space. I want to thank you all from my heart. We started with a blessing from the grandmother from Jyoti Ma. We went to the grieving, chanting, transmission of March. We understand why Rebecca brought us into this movement that is going to continue on what do you do once you knew. Then we have Alexander and Rama just bringing us to the home for humanity and regeneration, the future for all, and the message from the mother that Jyoti also shared with all of us. And now in this collective, all of us taking a pledge, everybody sharing what they are doing to create an impact in the world and for the 7 generations to come. I can be more blessed, really. This is an inspiration. And I'm so happy that we're all co-creating here. So I can just thank you enough. And I want to turn it to my beautiful friend and mentor, Quanita, because I really want you to help us close this in whatever way you want. And thank you all.
Thank you. I just have, it's real short, and it's just a poem that I think we all walk through. I always say we have to know the big picture, but we can only do what's ours to do, what's right in front of us. And this came through me one night in a dream. So I think it connects back to what are we dreaming up? And it's just a little thing called Honey and Lemons. And it's, where did you come from? How did you find me? This life full of honey and lemons rest on my lips with a taste of possibility, beckoning me to be still, to trust, to surrender to something greater than myself, driving me mad and calling me home. Thank you.
Lots of honey and lemon for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much love to everybody. Good afternoon. And thank you for joining us.
Good evening and good night too.
Love you.
Thank you, everybody. I'm
that is out there.
so grateful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Becca and Margery.
Thank you. We're going until March 20th.
Yesterday it was my birthday, so this is the
happy birthday
gift. Thank you so much.
Wow. Happy birthday, Aurora.
Thank
you.
Yes.
Oh, you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, sweet dreams.
Thank you.
Keep dreaming. Thank you, Noela. Oh, thank you, Deborah. This was beautiful and amazing. Thank you, Noela. And everybody, thank you so much. This has been, I don't know, speechless, like the poem we just heard earlier from Alexander. My grandmas, and I'm sure they are dancing and just like laughing and having so much fun. These are like playing as always. And my heart is full. That's all I know. So just keep checking and stay tuned for more. We are going until March 20th with more speakers. Some of them that were here today are going to have individual spaces. We're going to post some of the videos in YouTube as well and in Facebook. And I will keep updating the agenda of all the days and the sessions, amazing sessions that we're going to have in English, people from Brazil in Portuguese, people from Latin America in Espanol. So yeah, let's keep tuned. Much love to everybody. Have a great rest of your day, evening, sweet dreams. Ciao, ciao. Until the next one.